Hello and welcome back to Dial H for Heroclix. I'm your sexy ranch hand co-host, Calder Ness. This is a jam-packed show. We're going to be talking about the Heroclix for Huntington's weekend, as well as my weekend at the Dice Addiction 300 Modern Age Tournament. This is episode 363. Howdy, howdy, let's get rowdy.
So if you're looking for emotional satisfaction, my advice to you is seek professional...
Heroclix?
No.
Are you serious? Again? How many people even play this game? Like 100? Instant deadpan humor.
Over six people think I am funny.
It's a hard day's work. Not that you know anything about that. Which,
You absolute fools, it's not.
Witcher nonsense.
I'm gonna make Heroclix like that forever. Are you kidding me?
Hey Google, attack someone.
Let's attack Simeon, because he's a jerk.
Wow, wow, wow.
Dial H for Heroclix is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock every day, including all the latest Heroclix singles and sealed products. Make sure you check them out at CoolStuffInc.com. Ladies and gentlemen, use code DIAL5, that's DIAL 5% off your order. Not just Heroclix, it can be 5% off anything. Does not stack with your normal rewards, but still, starting off, build up those rewards. It's good stuff. Also, if you want to support the show directly, you can go ahead and do so at patreon.com/dialh for Heroclix, or just go to Patreon, type in Dial H for Heroclix. You'll see us, the updated logo. Shout out to a couple of Patreons. Luke updated his Patreon from $1 to $3 per month. We had a $1 patron join with Hypertime. Then we had a $7 Patreon member join by Andrew Douglas. So thank you guys so much for supporting the show. Once again, if you join the Patreon, you will get exclusive access to videos. Our live videos and any like really big, cool, fun videos will be a week early for you to view on Patreon. You'll also be able to join our Patreon exclusive Discord server, which like it actually is a really fun community we built up there with a lot of fun inside jokes. We're going to start trying to play Bad Samaritan here every couple of weekends of a month. So there's kind of going to be a little bit of a Patreon hangout thing going on. And you can do all that if you just join for $1. Past the $1, you can get stickers and action tokens. And also, if you join for $1, you just get entry into our monthly giveaway. Every $1 you donate is how many entries you get into the monthly giveaway. So yeah, it's all sorts of really cool stuff over on Patreon. Anyways, I am joined, as always, by the Billion Clicks Bruce. What's going on, Simeon?
I heard that joke more than once this weekend. It's kind of strange.
Of course.
Kind of strange people pulling from that literally one video. Actually, I mean, there's several promos, but the one video that's been released with him. But yeah, guess what, Calder? A little birdie told me something. Now, let's just say, just close your eyes and blank your mind. Imagine a blank canvas. If you were to put a dot in the center of the United States...
Don't close your eyes.
Yeah, well, I'm talking to Calder, not to the listener.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know if you were listening. Okay. Then I will close my eyes. Hit me with that sweet, sweet ASMR, Simeon.
Yeah. So if you were imagining the dead center of the United States, an equidistant point from all corners, all coasts, where do you think you would position that?
I believe dead center of the United States of just the lower 48. Is that what you mean? Just 48
yeah. Not including Alaska and Hawaii, of course.
Because technically, sorry, if you include Alaska, there's actually a spot in South Dakota that I know is technically the center of the United States. If you include Alaska, but since they're not, I will say Nebraska then for you.
Yeah. Omaha, Nebraska. Dead center.
Is it really Omaha? Is that actually the center?
No, it's actually. It's closer to like my hometown-ish area of Funk, Nebraska. But
Funk.
Yeah, it's population 130 and dwindling because nobody moves there.
Let me tell you something. If you ever see Simeon in real life, you'd be like, yeah, that dude's from Funk, Nebraska. I can tell.
Yeah.
I can tell.
You really can. Yeah. We're a very colorful people in Funk, Nebraska. All 130... Oh, hang on. Just got a news alert. 129 of us. No. The point of this exercise, though, was I got a chance to double down on a joke with Scott Porter this weekend where I told him that, if he was going to hold the Scott Porter Invitational in person, that would only make sense to hold it in a place that's equidistant for all coasts, because people on the East Coast are like, hold it on the East Coast, and people on the West Coast are like, beer of the day is, or whatever they do in the Pacific Northwest. I don't know, the Gong Guy boys. But they also want tournaments over on the West Coast. And I was like, just cut the coasts out, put it in the dead center. Everyone's airline ticket's like the same then. Mine's free because I can walk to the venue. So like it's, win-win for everyone. But yeah, I got to double down on that joke. And so I thought I would bring it to the podcast to triple down on it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm glad you did. So yeah, like always, we jump in, we do with what made us happy this week. Simeon, what made you happy? Being able to make these amazing next level Nebraska plans for Worlds, or not Worlds, but for the Huntington future events.
And
let me tell you something. Have I got a business proposition for you?
I don't know if it'll surprise Calder or any of the listeners to know this, but I managed to record that whole back and forth of that conversation as well.
Oh, yes.
So, as a shock to no one that has ever been on air with me, I tend to record things for blackmail purposes, Scott Porter. That's why.
That is true. Simeon could sync me.
I could try. You can't sync things that float. But what made me happy this weekend was actually, I played 8 games, 8 very, very long games. It was an insanely long weekend. My brain was completely fried. It still is because it's Sunday night and we're recording this. So brain's completely fried still. But through the 5 games of Silver Age that I played, I didn't make the top 16. I'll get into that a little bit. But through the 5 games that I played, I met a bunch of fun listeners. There's actually several people that knew who I was, and not in the bad context like most people do. And then there was several people in my battle royals that knew who me and Calder were, and had some nice words to say. So it was pretty cool. The community, not only knowing of me, but also approving of me in at least a minimal capacity. They were willing to play games with me, so that was fun. But yeah, the Silver Age event, we had a ton of fun. It actually did make me happy. Sadly, the whole time I was on the edge of my seat because I was thinking we'll be done around 4 or 5. I've got this graduation party. My friend graduated from college, got their master's, so I was like, I'll be done 4 or 5. Party goes till 8. I'll be able to get there. And then it's 7:20, and I'm finally wrapping up my 5th game. And I already knew I wasn't making the top cut, but I was like, I just really wanted to go to this party. I still made it. And said hi to everybody and stuff. But man, what a long, long day.
Yeah. Dude, that is rough. But being a little fashionably late, no problem with that. You're fat. You looking at you, besides I can tell that you're from Funk, Nebraska, I can tell you're the kind of guy who shows up fashionably late. That's the vibe Simeon Bruce gives off. Let me tell you something.
Yeah. If there's anything,
he's the guy to show up to a Heroclix tournament smelling it's fashionable. Look at him, you're like, that man's homeless. And it's he goes to a Heroclix tournament, you're like, oh, look at him. He's wearing a tie-dye shirt from the early 2000s. He smells like a campfire, and he looks like
Quite
that.
Literally, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Quite literally, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot to change shirts when I went to the South Dakota States last time, so I was quite literally campfire scented.
It was funny. It was funny. But yeah, I think we're going to talk about what made me happy this week. Also, because both of us went to tournaments. I went to an in-person one in Tulsa, Oklahoma at Dice Addiction, which is a fun modern age tournament. And then Simeon, you did all the Silver Age HDSA stuff. So let's just go ahead, talk about the week's events. This is sort of news. And then the bumper plays. But really, it's just sort of the week's events. It's not necessarily news. We will, however, talk about in order. So it's the auction, the family silver, and then I'll talk about Dice Addiction. However, before all of that happened, we did get to see one dial that we were very, very curious to see, and that was Master Mold. So I'm going to jump into that really quick because I just remembered it just now. So Master Mold has two traits. Really quick, I guess let me tell you his point value here. It's pretty gnarly. He's 375, 275, 25. I kind of like the 75 and the 200 point line. I don't think they're very viable. Depending if he's Galactus, he looks Galactus sized, but I think that's actually Blackbird sized base, sadly. So like there could be some shenanigans to do. Yeah, I think it's 2x4. So you could extend his reach a little bit with some placement shenanigans with the ring to sort of get him to inflate his reach. So I do like that a little bit. But anyways, and the stop click is cool. So at 25 points, he obviously has a one-click dial for stop click. He's a giant. You know, he also can very well easily expand your starting area for 25 points since he's a 2x4. But let's just get into his traits really quickly. So he's got Sentinel Creation Power. Generate any number of characters with the Sentinel and Robot keywords not named Master Mold, whose total points are equal to or less than the point total shown on the factory dial. Then turn the factory dial to click 1, and Master Mold gains immobile until the end of your next turn. We'll get into the factory dial at the end of it, so don't worry about it. But basically, he gets to pump out a Sentinel equal to whatever the point value is on the factory dial, right? And then he gains immobile because he made something, so he's immobile. And that is a power action, so that's pretty cool. His other trait is his Colossal Retaliation, Awakening the Sentinels.
Except it's
Free,
not
if
his.
no other friendly character has been placed this turn. It's not his, that's true. It is a trait, but he isn't the one retaliating exactly, which I think really fits for Master Mold, so it's really cool. Free, and it's a free retaliation, which is kind of nuts. If no other friendly character has been placed this turn, choose an opposing character that attacked or damaged Master Mold. So it only works if they attacked or damaged Master Mold. Since your last turn, place another friendly character with a Sentinel or Robot keyword such that it can make a close attack targeting the chosen character and then do so. As far as retail goes, this is really tame. So if you do play him at his quote-unquote like 20-point retail line, it's not really a 20-point retaliator. He'll probably die before he can retaliate, unless they, biff the attack, of course. But then it's not just him. You have to have another Sentinel, to retail. So that's kind of neat.
Or Robot.
So what does his dial look like before I get into the special powers? Or Robot.
Those Danger Room constructs
we were
talking about last week would totally be able to.
Oh, baby.
But only on his higher point lines would this ever.
Danger Room constructs. Oh, no. So on every starting line, he has a special damage power. Am I looking at that? Yeah, he does. He has special damage power. All right. And it's going to give him leadership and outwit. When Master Mold uses leadership and succeeds, instead of the normal effects, you may instead generate these two bystander that he comes with. Or when he succeeds at leadership, you click the factory dial once. So both these bystanders have point values, which is kind of cool. One is Sidestep, Close Combat Expert, Invulnerability, and 8, 10, 18, 3. Light, giant size, colossal, not giant. 6 range. So there's a close combat-y Sentinel right there. Wish it had charge, but I think it's you can use the whatever Sentinels, the XDPS Sentinels, to represent these guys. The other Sentinel is worth 15 points, and it's an 8, 10, 18, 3 as well, but it's running shot, pen blast, invulnerability. And then they specifically have something that says they take up 4 spaces.
Yeah.
So you can use those XDPS. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. And then he also has a stop click on his very last thing, which is stop, regen, mastermind, toughness. Pretty simple right there. So his 375 top click is a 10 with sidestep. He only has sidestep and force blast for speed powers. A little rough. So it's 10 sidestep, 12 pen blast, 20 defense, invincible, 5 damage for that special damage power. Is 200 point line, which I kind of dig, is an 8 sidestep, 12 attack, pen blast, 4 damage, 19 defense, impervious. And then his 75 point line I also kind of dig is a 5 movement sidestep, 11 attack, pen blast, 18 defense, impervious, and 3 damage. He's 8 range, 2 targets. He on his 75 point line, he has 5 clicks of life, the last one being that stop click. But I kind of dig it. I know what you're thinking. Well, now let's get into the factory dial, because that is pretty important. Leadership, he moves to factory dial once, which is pretty cool. So what's the factory dial look like? So it's pretty simple. The factory dial is always in play at all of Master Mold's point values. If you paid 375 or 200 points for Master Mold, at the beginning of your turn, click this dial once. It can't be clicked past click 18. So if he's on his higher point values, you automatically just get to click the factory dial. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So field testing. Once per turn, when an opposing character takes damage from an attack, if the attacker had the Sentinel or Robot keywords, click this dial once. That's always in effect. That's really cool. So there's more ways to click it than just leadership. 200 or 375, it auto clicks every turn. If a friendly character hit an opposing character, Sentinel or Robot, hit again. Improved programming. Friendly characters with the Sentinel and Robot keywords can use the powers displayed on the factory dial. So this is kind of cool. So point values on the factory dial are 0 for the first 2 clicks, and then it jumps up to 25 on click 3, where they can use in cap. 25 basically lets you generate one of those bystander sentinels at the hole you have to roll to see when it comes in on. So that's very fitting. Then it goes 50, 75, and then 100 at click 6, and then it just keeps going up by 25 points all the way to 400 points on click 18. The powers they can use for the first 7 clicks is going to be Incapacitate. On click 6 through 11, it whatever alternates between Empower and then Enhancement. 12 through 15, they can use Super Senses and Probability Control. And then 16 through 18, they can use Pulse Wave and Probability Control, which is pretty gnarly. So I don't think this dude, I think he can be made to work on some competitive teams. But if not, I think he's really just fun, man. Like I really like this dial.
Yeah.
You know, it's fun for Master Mold. It's fun to play Sentinels. Sentinels is already a really strong keyword. So I think casually, this is like a really strong, super fun team. And I think you might be able to make something work. Maybe not at 200, but 75 to try to make Sentinels like really, really work. I think it would be really cool. Once again, people smarter than me could probably figure out how to like really make this dude work. But I think it's really fun. So yeah, that's Master Mold. And the reason we bring him up is because obviously the first version of Master Mold was for sale at the auction, and people didn't know what they were bidding on. So I think I don't know if it was the day before.
Right. Did you ever play with the old Master Mold? The original with the old factory
I did not.
dial?
I've never played the old Master Mold or played against it.
Very similar idea. I don't remember if the old factory dial gave powers, but it was a similar idea of like you'd crank it up, and then on your board you could have, you know, like if you were sitting at 100 points, you could have from like generated actual figures with like whatever keyword or name or something up to that amount of points. So like if there was a Sentinel worth 50 and you had 100 points showing on your factory dial, you could have 2 of those out. And I played before all of our game venues got shut down. We did a Master Mold like boss battle scenario where we were playing with it was right after XDPS. We had all these new Sentinels, and so they were yanking in like Tri-Sentinel on the 30-point retaliation line, the XDPS Sentinels, the Stealth Sentinel, like just bringing in like all these new ones with these crazy powers, and that was already a headache. And then if you're playing this guy, I mean, clearly if you're playing him at like 375 or 200, it's probably casual. And you're cranking that like factory dial up pretty quick because a leadership roll gets you it at the beginning of turn. You crank it. If an opposing character takes damage from an attack, and if you've got a well-built robot team, they're definitely taking damage at some point. You crank it or click it. I don't know why I'm saying crank so much. You got to crank the factory dial. Simeon? You can't click a factory dial. You got to crank it. But yeah, I can see like, you know, by turn 2, I can see like you already being up to like click 5 or 6, and on those, or I mean even click 4, you're able to bring in like a Tri-Sentinel that's a robot. You're able to bring in a Danger Room Magneto if you didn't already build with one, Sabretooth if you didn't already build with one, Sinister. Like you're able to bring in any 3 of those at the only 4 clicks in. And so yeah, this guy's got a ton of playability in my opinion. Even just for 25 points for the leadership, even if you don't factor in the factory dial, even if you don't consider that, just his leadership that can generate bystanders is pretty solid, and outwit. So yeah. But anyhow,
Dude, I like him a lot. So now that we know what he does, Simeon, why don't you tell me how much money was raised for Huntington's in the form of the auction of buying? Specifically, we'll do Master Mold. We'll go from top to bottom, sort of. We'll skip all the lame stuff like the maps and whatever. But
have to,
what will Master Mold go for?
You'll have to add it all up on your own if you want. But Master Mold went for a whopping $531 plus $3.50 shipping.
Dang, bro. We're
now,
talking
if this was
like
just a normal convention exclusive, you're thinking like 40, maybe 50. Like, I mean, Galactus was 100, so even 100 pales in comparison to 531. It's for charity. So somebody was just like, heck yeah, I really like Master Mold.
Lot, man.
I really like giving to charity. Let's combine those two things. Next up on the auction was King Shazam, who's trending on eBay for about 100, maybe a little over 100. He sold for 150 plus 350 shipping. The Eastview Park variant maps, which are based on the WandaVision episode where
or
on the magic show.
That's cool.
It says it's a variant map, but I think they stated that it wasn't like an ROC official map. I can't remember. Those all went for right around $80 each. One went for 100, and there was, I think, 4 of those. And then the Hyper RPG Studio maps almost all went for over 100. I think the average was 100, and there was, again, like 5 of those. Superman Prime went for $202 and $203. There was 2 of those. A Robbie Reed and the H-Dial, and this one might really blow you away, Calder. How much can you imagine Robbie Reed and the H-Dial going for?
Our beautiful namesake, Robbie Reed and the H-Tile.
Yeah.
Oh boy. He retails for 15, right? Like that's the MSRP when you could buy him at conventions. So he would be sold for like 25-ish bucks. So like no one really, no offense to Robbie Reed, no offense to ourselves, no one really likes him that much. He's really not that good. So like even for charity, what do you get, like double the cost, $30, something like that?
I'll tell you this. Reed? He went for more than Bombshell Raven, Batmobile, and Kyle Rayner.
Oh really?
Yeah, he went for more than all of those.
Like more than the Batmobile? That's
more
crazy
than the Batmobile. Yeah. So good old Robbie Reed went for a whopping $61 and $3.50 shipping.
Interesting.
Kyle Rayner,
$61.
Cost. Kyle Rayner went for 51. Batmobile went for 56. Bombshell Raven went for 52. And then we come to the item that got 133 bids. The Switch Clicks. I know if I had to pay to like win a design a figure, and this isn't a design a figure. This is literally you get yourself put on a Switch Click base. They don't give you a base. They don't design a base for this. You just have a figure of yourself that you can put in place of any Switch Click dial. So it has to be an existing dial, but they did say it would be tournament legal. So you can play yourself as like Johnny Storm or Reed Richards or, you know, any of the paint and take, or not paint and take, the deep cuts. The X-Men deep cuts. So it was a really cool prize. It's not a prize that most people get. Very few people actually get put on a sculpt unless they win Worlds. And then I guess some people get put on a sculpt. But Calder, do you know how much this went for?
I was tracking it for a while there. We were driving to Tulsa while the thing was going, and big no offense to the people of the app, but trying to use it on data, it crashed a lot. So I wasn't able to totally see.
It crashed a lot. And then when they started streaming, they started streaming video on it towards the end, and then it was like twice as bad. I wasn't even able to bid on anything.
I know Oxid is supposed to be like, there's no sniping on Oxid, but like when it crashes at the end of the thing and I can't get back on to vote, kind of felt like I got sniped. Like, kind of sucks. But anyways, so I do hope they update the app, especially if they do this in the future. That's just some bit of constructive criticism. Anyways, so I saw it at like $2,500 for
Set at
having a
it
version
got
of
up
yourself
to.
put on a switch click base.
I want to say it got up to like
That's when I
1,200 day
sort of,
one. So
bowed
like
out, I
Wednesday
guess.
night, it was at like 1,200 already. And
I think that's right. Yeah.
in my opinion, it would have been really cool if, as a community, there was a few people. I think Anthony Barnstable tried to get a few people together to get like a community-driven kind of thing. I think it would have been really cool if we had conceded this switch click to like Adam Friedman, who won Worlds, quote unquote Worlds in 2020, as like his champion.
Right.
He never truly got like the champion prize that you normally would have from Worlds. So this would have been a great prizing for that. But none of that happened. It got blown out of the water, Calder. It went past 2,500. It went past 3,000.
Okay.
It finally sold with $0 shipping, mind you, for $4,000 even.
Shipping is $0. Never mind. 4K.
4,000 to a
$4,000
singular person
for a figure.
who I will not name
One
because they've
person
been
paid that.
banned from certain groups because apparently they're
Yikes.
not a great person. But I don't know them, so I'm not going to say that. That's just what I've heard. But
Yeah.
I mean,
Like,
$4,000 to charity.
cool.
That's cool.
It's awesome. I'm okay with that. $4,000 charity. That's good. Guys, this is just to be played at WizKids exclusive like events, like official events. That's WKOs, that's Nats and Worlds, and that's it.
Yeah.
You want a switch click of yourself? Go message our boy Hyper Tucsonic Customs on Facebook.
Yeah. As
He'll
someone
make you a switch click for like less than like $50-$60, man. Like, because if it's just like a dude in clothes, it's probably pretty simple to like make a custom of that. Even if you're like, hey, can you give me backwards baseball or like whatever, like,
Or if you want a really lewd version of yourself, hit up Goldie Hawn. And
Oh,
you can
yeah.
have the super
to
lewd version.
be
of
fair, Goldie
yourself.
Hawn will also do non-lewd versions.
I don't know.
Of whatever.
Even his
but
little
yes,
male Heroclix are pretty handsome looking.
Jeez, this is where I shoot a message to Goldie Hawn like, okay, never mind, cancel the dial H for Heroclix, Simeon and Calder Chippendale figures. No, we don't need those anymore. Simeon doesn't like the idea. Cancel it.
I actually love that idea. It's just I could never live with myself. Oh wait, I can't. But anyhow,
Could you imagine a Rowdy Rantan Billion Clicks Chippendale figure set? That'd be. Anyways, I don't want to think about it.
terrible.
Good lord. But
$4,000
but like
raised for
you could get those for
charity
way
is the main
cheaper. For
point.
$4,000.
Yeah.
That's yes. Let's
you
focus on the
negate-
race for charity part.
If you
'cause,
negate the
wow.
fact that it's for charity, $4,000 will buy you literally the best hobbyist version of a 3D printer. Heck, you can get like both types of hobby level like 3D printers. You can get a resin and the feed one. I can't even remember off the top of my head what it's called. But anyhow, you can pretty much print higher quality sculpts than WizKids can make with that level of 3D printer. Like that's like top dollar 3D printer as far as hobbyists go. Of course, there's manufacturing ones and like high scale ones that are quite a bit higher in price. But $4,000 is a ton of money for a singular sculpt. Now it is for charity, so all bets are off. Who cares about 3D printed stuff? You can play yourself in a tournament, and that's cool. Next up was a JLU team up card complete set. Now this is something I absolutely did not care about because I did not want to keep any of my JLU team up cards, but there was 120 of them. So 120, let's say like roughly they average about $5 a piece. There's some that are almost worthless and some that go for like 40 or something. I don't know if the Amazo ones are still going for a decent amount or not. I think they've dropped in price. But the full 120 card set, rather than going for like a $600 like MSRP kind of idea, went for $951.
Okay. Nice.
Now, the House of X team-up cards was a little bit fewer in that set. I think it was roughly half. That only went for $431. Apparently not as many people collecting the House of X ones. That was it. I mean, roughly half the cards went for roughly half the price, so I guess it makes sense. Spider-Man and Venom Chase Prime set. We had 2 of those. One went for $301. One went for $288. I actually feel like this is like the first one where I'm like, wow, it's probably a pretty good deal. You got Doppelganger. You got one of each Chase from Spider-Man, Venom, Absolute Carnage. That's probably a $300 value.
I would say so, actually. That was one of the things that I was looking at bidding on. That and like the Wonder Woman full set. I'm like, that's pretty much like, if I could sell it all, like,
yeah,
you know,
you're
I could
breaking
keep the
even
ones
at
I
the
want.
very
You know, I
least.
could keep all the lanterns or something like that, and like sell the Secret Six, or you know, vice versa, whatever. And you could be like, hey, that's pretty cool. You know, it's like, shoot, I shouldn't even bought any of my cases because I could have got the full set. You know, because I didn't get the full set from 3 cases, which is like $600-$700 for like the Wonder Woman. You know, like you could have just got the full set right here.
Yeah.
It's like I think it's a great deal.
If I had taken the money that I spent on Wonder Woman and just bid on the factory set, I would have probably,
charity, which is huge.
Yeah, it would have not only gone to charity, I probably would have ended up with a more full set than what I ended up with. So the Wonder Woman 80th factory set, one of every figure in the set and every equipment went for $810, which factoring the Secret Six and the lanterns and then all the equipment,
not too bad.
Pretty solid, yeah. That's actually, you know,
yeah.
I mean, if you wanted to turn that all around and sell it all, I think you make that 810 back pretty close to it. And then, you know, it's basically like forcing whoever pays you for it to have sent their money to charity, and that's fun.
Yeah, like I dig that. Yeah,
I love selling things and forcing people's money to charity. Next up was the very first Fulcrum Abominus except they put Fulcrum. It's not Fulcrum, it's Fulcrum Abominus.
It's Fulcrum.
Yes.
Howard, Fulcrum.
Fulcrum
Sorry.
Abominus.
Sorry, say it right, Howard. This is the very
first
Brock.
one that we've seen that
want it
sold
to pass through your lips.
Post-dial.
Sorry, keep going.
So this is post-dial Fulcrum Abominus. $400. Not terrible. Actually sold for less than the previous one, but yeah. I don't think that's a good gauge.
Don't get that kid a card. I feel so bad for him.
For sure. I imagine they will. I really hope they do.
I hope so.
I don't think this is a good place to base these figures off on, these mail away figures.
No, but that's what we said before, though.
Right.
So, like,
you have to factor in
we
the
said
charity
last
level.
episode, we're using this to gauge what someone's interest is. Obviously, someone has the most interest in Fulcrum Abominus. That makes sense.
Yep.
Then, well, scaling down, what was the next one's looking like? Probably what? Brainiac Lex, Gorilla Grodd, and then I imagine Plastic Man, right? Like that would be, for me,
Pretty
how I
close.
think the interest is for the rest of these figures.
Lexiac went for an even 300, and then Plastic Man and Gorilla Grodd both tied at 200. So there's a pretty big disparity in, $100 less than Lexiac and then $200 less than Fulcrum Abominus. So, pretty decent disparity. But they almost went for more than Lady Phoenix, which Lady Phoenix, mind you, still not legal because there's only been a few that have been handed out. This one on
30
auction
or whatever, right?
went for $215. So,
that's a steal. That's hold up. That's a good price.
215 is a real solid price, yeah.
She was selling for 300 before. Someone got a good deal on a Lady Phoenix.
Yeah, I think she
That's
might
just a
have
good
gone
deal.
down because they changed to Pulse Wave, but I'm not positive.
Probably, but she wasn't good to begin with.
It's also just, at this point, strictly a collector piece because you can't even play it in anything other than like casual anyhow. Then we've got the super pre-release Deadpool kit. Now, Scott Porter said this may or may not include just the play-at-home kit for the Deadpool, or for the Deadpool play-at-home kit for, Rise and Fall. Hinting at that there may or may not be like an Ultra Chase Deadpool looped in with this. So this one went for $342 with 92 bids. I think it was one of the second highest bid on.
That's wild. Because to me, Rise and Fall comes out in like what, month and a half, something like early July or like late June, like so it comes out in like a month, 2 months, and you're getting a map and a figure. And $10. So this is $10. Where and I know it's and obviously everybody big caveat, but like dang.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what we're also thinking? The Ultra Chase might come
I mean,
with
it was hinted at.
The thought?
I would really hate for it to be hinted at so hard, and then it doesn't come with it, and you're just like,
I don't understand why you would hint at things. Like, I get it's fun to be cute and like hint at things, but like, please tell me what I'm spending my money on. Yeah. Like, I know it's for charity, and that's good, but like, please tell me what I'm spending my money on.
And then,
like,
probably
it's important to know.
The craziest value to dollar spent things that were on this auction came up. The Scott Porter bystander pogs, the bystanders. Yeah. Now, each of these was signed, so take that for whatever additional value as you imagine. Each of these, I don't think there was a single one that went for less than $100. So, let's see. 111, 115, 101, 105, 146.50, and then 120. So just some crazy. And then I don't. Oh wait, there was more. 106, 110, 106, 155. Wonder Woman 80 Legacy card set went for $85. Now, mind you, that's only the 7 legacy cards. This isn't like team-up cards, so that's why it's lower. And then, for some reason, I did not get a screen cap of it, but both of the Play with Scott Porter Battle Royale, like the guaranteed Play a Battle Royale with Scott Porter auction bids, one went for $400, and I think the other one went for a little bit more than that. Went for like quite a bit, and that was literally not like a tangible physical prize attached. It was just like you get 50 minutes to hang out with Scott Porter and play a battle royale, which, I mean, if that's what you want to do, it's a great way to like give to charity.
More power to you.
And you get to meet a cool guy that, you know, you play a battle royale with. So, but that was the Auxit that went from Wednesday to Friday night. And then I think the Wonder Woman Legacy card thing was an additional after hours thing that they just threw up randomly.
Yeah. Then after all that stuff was done, like I think 10 or 15 minutes later, they threw up like 10 Scott Porter bystanders just like for sale for whatever reason.
Right.
Which is cool. I like that. Those all ended up going for more than 100 too. At one point in time, I saw they were all around 50 to 40. So I went and I bid each one to $69 because I thought that'd be funny so I could get a screenshot of it. But lo and behold, they instantly rocketed past that price. Not even a thought went into someone's brain after seeing them raised. It was instantly bid up $1, bid up something. And I was like, geez, man, come on. I want my funny number screenshot. And I wasn't able to get it. I was very disappointed in myself. And in the Heroes community for not letting me get a little time to breathe to get my funny number screenshot done. But that's okay. It is what it is. But yeah. It was pretty good. It was good. So that's the auction. I'm glad, number one, it is crazy seeing how much people were able to spend on this stuff. And there were lots of different people bidding. So just next time you guys complain about the price of boosters going up, I'm just not going to listen. No offense. No offense, guys. Yeah, and I know this is like a one-time auction deal, so I'm just kidding, obviously. But yeah, like, I'm glad that you guys were able to do some stuff for Huntington's. I know I was bidding on some things and I was just like, I don't need to win an auction. I'm fine. So I bought like $30 for the raffle tickets that night because I think, yeah, why not? We'll be able to play. So I figured that's how I could at least contribute a little bit to the event. So I think that was nice. Yeah, I really am glad. Like, end all be all, I'm really glad we raised this much money for charity. That's really awesome. So like, I think the HeroClix community deserves a pat on the back for that. Like, good job, guys.
It was an absolute ton.
But Simeon,
and I'm not even going through all of the items because there was also like mugs and also some older like ROC maps and stuff that went for quite a bit. But just the things I named off alone, like, I mean, granted, $4,000 of it, so almost like half of, not quite half, I think maybe like a quarter of like the total value came from literally one item, but still, It was pretty incredible to see as it happened.
For sure, dude. So do you want to get into talking about the family is everything? Starting off with your team, my man. Cool. Glad he did that. So I was
Yeah.
unable to play in the Family is Everything event. So really quick, I want to rattle off my team. This is what I would have played if I could have played in the Family is Everything event. It would have been Sharon Carter, 35 points, the new Captain America set. Peggy Carter, the 40.1. They are related. They are niece and aunt, blood family relation. And then the rest of the team is Diamondback, aka Rachel Layton, and then the Scarlet Witch, and then tying everybody together is Captain America. So these are all people in comics that Captain America has dated. So Sharon during World War II, Peggy as Agent 13 right after World War II, Diamondback in the 80s. Diamondback's my personal favorite. She's my girl. She was probably the one whose relationship with Captain America made the most sense to me. But it's okay, it's whatever. And then Scarlet Witch and Cap had like a thing in the comics for a bit. I honestly hate it when Avengers writers try to do anything with Cap's relationship because it's so lame and cringy. They try to make him have like a relationship with Black Widow and Scarlet Witch, and I'm just like, stop, it's lame, stop. I hate you, generic Avengers writer. Leave Captain America alone. But yeah, Cap and Diamondback. But this would have just basically been like everybody Captain America was like romantically involved with throughout. So I think that just would have been a really fun thematic team. 285 points. It's got the family tie on there. I'd fill out the other 15 points with like something, try to find something that's like sort of thematic type of deal. But yeah, that would have been my team. But Simeon, what was your team for the Silver Age event that you actually played in?
All right. So my Silver Age family team, I also had one that I almost played, but I thought the restrictions were a little bit tighter. I think going forward, that would be like my main thing is have a definitive write out of what is and isn't accepted, because I thought that like cross universe wasn't accepted. Turns out like that wasn't quite true. It kind of was just, play by ear kind of thing. And so a lot more stuff got through than. So originally I was going to do a Spider-Man handstand Spidey from Superior Foes of Spider-Man, Spiderling from Earth X, and then like a Mary Jane, because that's their Mary Jane and Peter's daughter, and then of course Spider-Man being Aunt May, and then I was going to do the Spider Buggy. So it was going to be a full Spider like family tree with the car, so they were going on like a beach vacation kind of thing.
That's funny.
But I thought it was too cross-university because Spiderling isn't an actual like 616, and Handstand Spidey and Mary Jane, we don't really have one from that same universe. We have like Spinneret, but not the actual Peter that goes with that universe. And then Spider-Man is completely different universe altogether as well. So I scrapped that one, and I decided to go with a fun... one of my favorite characters of all time is the Super Rare Black Panther from Avengers Defenders War. And so that's the one that can make Wakanda warriors. He gives a +1 to Wakanda keyword across the board. He has the leadership 4 through 6, and he's got Mastermind. He's got a bunch of stuff that's really good. 65 points. And if you've never played him, he hasn't aged super well. Those Wakanda warriors are kind of just not great for 20 points compared to what we have nowadays. But it's still one of my favorite characters, just because I like being able to generate characters with dials over characters like bystanders.
Sure.
And I really like making more characters in general. Throughout the 5 games that I played for Silver Age, I think I only generated a total of 4 Wakanda warriors, and that's on a 4 through 6. So
man,
I was just not hitting those leadership roles. Sadly, ADW is like the furthest back you can go for a Wakanda themed team. So I went with that Black Panther, the Wakanda warrior. Then I went with T'Challa's sister, Queen Shuri, which was the LE. She's got double outwit, and then for each action token she has, you get a +1 speed and defense to all Wakanda keywords. So when she has 2 action tokens, everyone had a +2 defense, which was really solid. I played the... I don't think she's called anything other than Storm, but it's the queen of Wakanda Storm, so it's Aurora T'Challa, and she came out around the same time as that Queen Shuri. She has leadership as well. Queen Shuri has leadership, so I'm already up to 3 leaderships on this team. Storm has the cool Passenger 3, but only to carry characters she shares a keyword with, and then friendly characters within 3 squares that share a keyword with her can use stealth, which was huge in most of my games. And then to round out the team, I had Azuri, which is the Prime from Captain America. It's the rare Prime from Captain America and the Avengers. That is, Azuri is the grandfather of Shuri and T'Challa. And then, since I couldn't find another relative with the Wakanda keyword, I just threw on something that I thought would be fun. I hadn't really played before, and that was Blade from Captain America, the super rare.
Show.
So my team ended up being like way more modern than I wanted it to be, but it was still like a really fun thematic team, in my opinion. Storm, I also threw on the Earth X, Living Spirits Will Guide Us Wakanda map. So that map allows, with a character named Black Panther on your build, it allows you to re-roll a Super Sense or a Blades roll once per turn for one character. So everyone on this team, except I think Blade, has Super Senses at some point in their dial. And so I guess Black Panther doesn't either, but he's got Mastermind, so I didn't really need it for that. And then re-rolling the Blades, I only managed to do that once. You do have to be in hindering, water, or obscuring terrain for that to work. And then the consolation is you only get to do it once per game for Blades, and for Super Senses you only get to re-roll it once per game, which actually did matter the one time I lost map. I did survive with a Super Sense roll because of that. And then, yeah, that was the only map that I chose. I also had like Orville Bridge and something else. I think I used the Hyper RPG map, but I just listed them. I was never planning on going to them if I won map. And sure. So I guess I'll go into my games real quick. The first game, I cannot remember the exact build, but it was a Corsair with the Starjammers team-up card, which turns people with like Shi'ar and I think Imperial Guard or something like that into Starjammers. Like, so it makes it a theme team. So it was Corsair, Emperor Vulcan, a Rachel Gray, or is it Rachel or is it Hope? I can't remember.
Don't ask me about X-Men, dude. You know
it's
that.
the Blue Phoenix from XDPS, which
that is actually Rachel. I actually do know that one.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Rachel. She's got the bob cut and everything.
So
90s jacket.
I think that's a Cyclops' daughter. I can't remember. So yeah, it's a little family tree. Corsair, of course, being the father, the patriarch of the Summers clan. Vulcan being one of the brothers with Havoc and Cyclops. So it was
I didn't know that.
Corsair, Vulcan, and then
Corsair's the same
Summers.
father that went to go get space cigarettes like 30 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Then he like comes back all of a sudden.
Yeah,
That's Corsair.
Went off to get space cigarettes, joined made like a pirate ship in space, and then was like, oh, by the way, I'm your dad from space. And they just happened to be in space fighting with like the Shi'ar or whatever at the time. So great timing, Dad.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I played against that first round. I'm sure there was like a few other things in there that I'm forgetting. It was a fun game. It really was. Corsair being able to see through my stealth made it really interesting. I managed to barely squeak out the win. That one's actually up on YouTube. I barely squeaked out a win. He also had Waldo. That's what I remember. He had Waldo, and at one point I managed to like hit Corsair for quite a bit, and then he healed him up with that stupid little bug that Waldo kicks out. It has a 12 attack with support. That's really good. That's just really good. A 12 attack support. But yeah, I barely managed to win on points on that team. My team was not the kind of team that can table an opponent at all. I just don't get that many attacks. I think Storm was really the only one that attacked that game. And then my next game was against a Starjammers theme team. So this team had Corsair, Emperor Vulcan, XDPS Phoenix, the Rachel Summers one, some others. So this is why I can't remember what each team had, is because this was
a lot of the same here.
Also the Corsair with the Starjammers card. And this was like, it was funny because he was like I was explaining all the different stat boosts and stuff that my team does before the game begins. I'm explaining it to him like, Storm's going to give them all stealth. I'm going to try and keep them in stealth. This lady gives them +1 defense for each action token she has. This guy gives a +1 attack. You know, I'm going through all that, and then he's like, okay, well, Corsair. And I was like, no, I just played against this. Like, you don't need to explain to me what Corsair does. I already saw what Corsair does. Except then he surprised me and crit hit me with an energy explosion and wiped out half my team in one turn.
That's what Corsair does.
And
Space cigarettes. Bam!
To be fair, I knew that it was possible. I just didn't think it was likely.
Right.
So it was real bad. Wiped out half my team with that attack. He did a really good job positioning. I wish I could remember exactly who this was, but again, the teams just kind of ran together. My third game, so I won the first one by just barely points, lost the second one with like a solid 0 points, and then the third game was against a Starjammers team.
Oh, saying so.
It had Corsair, Emperor Vulcan, the Uncommon Phoenix. This one didn't have Waldo. It had 2 suited henchmen.
Oh, that's funny.
And 2 equipments, and I think he actually had 2 Phoenixes. So it was double Rachel Summers Phoenix, 2 suited henchmen, 2 gems, like the reality and the power gem. He put the power gem on Emperor Vulcan, which as soon as I see Emperor Vulcan on the map, my team's just like, no. Like, there's no attacking that.
No.
I could definitely hit him. I have the stat boost to hit him. I just can't deal damage, and he reduces penetrating. And I was like,
right.
I've got exploit. I've got this and that. I've got all kinds of crazy cool stuff. I just cannot get Emperor Vulcan down dialed to a point where it makes sense to sink that many attacks. So I'm like, try and take out his support, do this and that. I managed to kill both Phoenixes, or maybe he only had one. I can't remember. Somebody had 2. I killed 1 Phoenix, and this was actually a fun game. I might post this one, even though it plays out pretty much the same as the second one. Storm literally just like turn 2 dropped everyone next to his starting area, which was like next to his suited henchmen, so I could outwit Corsair's energy explosion, because I was like, my team just stays clumped up, and that energy explosion ruined me the time before. So I was like, yeah, I turn 1 moved up like 11 squares with like a perplex and Shuri's +1 speed token, and then turn 2 I gave Shuri another token, another action token, and then carried to like the starting area almost, outwitted Corsair's energy explosion and a suited henchman sidestep, because what else was I going to outwit? There's 2 power cosmics on the team.
Yeah.
Then I killed 2 suited henchmen and a Rachel Summers Phoenix, and I really had him on the ropes, and then he killed my Storm, so my taxi was gone. I made some lucky super sense rolls with Queen Shuri, and then he took out my Queen Shuri, so my outwit was gone. Not that it mattered. I could have outwit Corsair, but that was it at that point. And then, yeah, it just came down to, can I make enough attacks against Corsair and keep 175 points of my team alive? And no, he tabled me. So that was game 3. Game 4. So at this point, my brain is like melted, because I've literally just had deja vu for the 4 hours straight. So you're going to have to forgive me, but I think game 4, it wasn't against the X-Men. What was it?
No way.
No.
Okay.
It wasn't a Starjammers, because I literally told the guy as soon as he put figures down. Oh, it was Wonder Woman. He built a full Wonder Woman, so Wonder Woman 80 theme team. So it was Wonder Woman's mom, Hippolyta, It was the shifty Wonder Woman. He started with the one that has the gold armor. They banned the lasso, which I was very thankful for. I didn't realize that. I was like, do you not have a lasso on the team? And he was like, oh, they banned it for this event. And I was like,
thank goodness.
Good. Yeah. He had like Steve Trevor, some other things that made sense. I think Cersei was in there. Actually, I know for sure Cersei was in there because she was mystical, and that was the one time Blade really just shone like a beacon in the night. Blade just, took out Cersei. Didn't take Mystic's damage, but did crit miss on his follow-up attack, because when he KOs somebody with a mystical keyword or monster keyword, he can charge at no cost. Crit missed on that second charge, so it was like I took Mystics anyhow. But yeah, it just came down to I had really good luck with my Super Sense rolls. He had pretty bad luck with his rolls, and then my stats were just super high because of Queen Shuri. So, he was swinging with like 11s and stuff into 20s, and so it was just like an uphill battle for him. And I ended up winning just barely by points again. My team, again, was not something that could table my opponent. It just did not pump out a ton of decent attacks. And then the final game was X-Men theme team with Jubilee, Gambit, Captain Britain, the Elizabeth Braddock Captain Britain, Rachel Summers, I think. Yes, from House of X. Or Rachel Gray, excuse me, is the name, but her real name's Rachel Summers on her card. Then a few other random things, Kitty Pryde and some other just random kind of stuff like that. It worked really good. So he put me on the Otherworld map. I think the game was pretty much over at that point because, of course, the sparkly lady, Jubilee. Jubilee turns into the Shogo transformation thing.
Oh, yeah.
Gets protected outwit, invincible, and shape change. So just like with Emperor Vulcan, there's just nothing I'm doing. Like, I have outwit on my team, but without the ability to outwit like those big defenses, there's no way I'm going to be able to deal a ton of damage. And so he made a really solid first move, shooting Gambit almost all the way across the map, and getting so Gambit can target through hindering. So like stealth, there wasn't a ton of stealth to be had, but it didn't matter because Gambit has triple target energy explosion. He did that with Precision Strike. Took most of my characters down to like clicks that I'd rather them not be on. They lose some of the charge, and like the mobility's just gone at that point. I followed up by taking out Gambit the next turn. He hit me with like a Lockheed and some other stuff. And at this point, it was just kind of, I had the one Super Sense reroll because of the consolation. And I had some other kind of tricks up my sleeve with like sidestepping and getting into decent positioning. But Jubilee was just able to target me from like across the map almost. She was like halfway up the map, and she has 8 range on that click. So there's just no way my team could move up fast enough. And it ended up being Azuri with his 18. He was like hit down to his 18 combat reflexes. I just based a bunch of his people and was like, sure hope you roll bad. We burned through both our charity probs and theme team probs on that first Gambit attack. I think I actually burned through them, and then he had a few left over. And that was all she wrote. I mean, it was an uphill battle for me, and it got down to the point where it was just Shuri with her double outwit. And I was like, maybe, except not, but maybe. And
maybe.
I think I took out Rogue. And that was, or maybe I don't remember if I did, but that was like my goal was like take out Rogue, and I almost did with Shuri, but once she got hit off of her. Oh, the other thing, he had someone. One of his team ups gave everyone with the Excalibur thing Mystics. So normally the Excalibur trait is Mystics TA, but only triggers during range attacks. Somebody has a team up that gives it for close as well. So they just had Mystics. And guess what my team didn't have, Calder?
Invincible?
Zero Invincible. And he took out.
Ooh,
he
wow.
made a point to take out my Blade like right off the bat, who is the only person that doesn't take Mystics damage. So even
That's
when
true,
I was hitting, I was getting like my characters were getting drastically worse. And so yeah, like by the time I did hit that rogue with Shuri, I still took a Mystics damage and got knocked off of that outwit. And I was just like, it was not a battle I could win at that point. So, but yeah, that was my Silver Age tournament.
Okay.
And I'll just wrap up the rest of the tournament and say I did 3 battle royales today. Those were fun. I played against Chip Gongai from the Gongai Eagle cast.
Nice. Mr. Gone Guy seems like a nice fellow.
And yeah, so I played 3 battle royals. It's pretty fun. Wonder Woman Sealed is very interesting. It's mostly one-sided when someone pulls Zeus or Superman, and then when you get both of those pulled, it's a little bit more interesting. I pulled a Superman with Ferdinand. This one, I felt so bad. One of our listeners actually went like, he tried so hard and blasted Superman for 3 damage, Psychic Blast, and it was like a tough shot. Like he needed like an 8, and he got it. And then the next turn, I just used Ferdinand and rolled a 5 and healed 3 damage back up. And it was just like, well, that's what top dial Superman looks like, huh?
Wow, I hate you. I hate you, Superman.
Is that not just a terrible person move?
That sucks.
It's so bad. But yeah, that was the Huntington's Scott Porter Invitational Tournament for me. It's still going on, so...
While we are on the topic of battle royales, I played in 3 this weekend as well. Same thing, Wonder Woman battle royales. First battle royale, I was able to secure Zeus, and then the other guy got Superman, but he didn't pull very well. Like he got handed a bunch of generics. You know, he didn't get enough good with Superman, so like he wasn't able to make that much. But he probably made like 90% of his super senses rolls, and he was rolling 5s and 6s. Didn't even need like the 4. It was wild. But like Zeus, just dude, I personally think Zeus, he slaps. He's
absolutely
point for point. Even in a battle royale style format, I think Zeus is better than Superman. Superman is kind of scared to hit Zeus because he's going to get off top dial with the with Mystics and everything.
Yeah.
He can hit Zeus, yes, but like it's going to mess Superman up. You know, so Zeus can really, like, unless people lock him down right away, and even when he's locked down, he's, you know, triple bolts, whatever, punching people. Top dial Zeus is just a beast with stop clicks and mystics to like chew through. But yeah, so I won that battle royale. The next battle royale I got like last or third, and then the very last battle royale I got second place, which is cool because I got a flash, which then paid for my 3 battle royales that I was in. It was awesome. The venue was doing $15 battle royales, so normal battle royale price, even though a booster with tax would cost more than $15. So I really, really dug that. That was awesome. So I like the idea of a battle royale being slightly cheaper because you're not guaranteed to keep what you pull. So that was sweet. But yeah, man, I had a ton of fun with the battle royales. Played against some Team Juggernaut guys, the fellas from Arkansas. You know, what did Tennessee? Same stuff, Arkansas. You know what I mean? That's a good dad joke. Feel free to use that whenever you want to, listener. Get it? What did Tennessee? The same thing, Arkansas. Anyways, whatever. But yeah, like that was just some of the most fun battle royales I played. And battle royales are always super fun when everybody at the table has a great attitude. So, and for the most part, they do, which is really sweet. So yeah. To sort of jump into my 300 modern events of the evening. So me and the Phoenix boys plus Zach drove down to Tulsa. Yeah, we had a good time. I love in-person play. And I never thought I would have to say that, right? Because that's normal play. But I love seeing people. I love hanging out with them. I love talking to them. At this event alone, a lot of the Clicks men were there. And if I don't mention you, I'm sorry. Like if I don't mention someone by name, I just forgot. But I seriously super enjoyed talking with everybody there. So like people I played against that I really enjoyed. There was a kid who was newer at the game. He was fun. He was playing full Juggernaut because he had pulled it in a booster. And I love the idea of that. And he was kind of tough. fight. Like full Juggernaut's not totally easy to be beat. So I actually kind of enjoyed that we were able to have a little bit more of a back and forth game. To when you normally play against someone who's younger or newer at the game, it feels a bit more unsighted, and you want to make sure they have fun, but also, because it is a tournament, you still want to win the game. So I was glad that our game was able to have more back and forth, just because he was playing such a solid piece. So that was cool. And then Matt Reed, cool guy, listener to the show, talked to him for a bit. Who else there? Lucas Landis, Heroes Headquarters guy on YouTube. Cool dude, played against him, had a good time. Micah Love. Dude, me and Micah always have some of the most fun games. Klicksman member, really good player. Dude, it was crazy. So, you know what? I'm going to get into my games anyways. So let me just go ahead and tell you my team. 300 points, modern age, standard stuff here. I had Micron and Adam, so those two are 90 points. Duke Thomas, making us 125. And then we had your boy. I don't know why I still play this guy, but I feel bad. I still just like playing him. So I was playing Jason Wingard. So now we're at 200 points. 230 points means we had to add our girl, Jean Grey, the Phoenix, onto it. And then what's the rest of that 70 points? 65-point Savage Land Magneto. And then the 5-point Iron Avengers.
Man.
So
the one that
those
steals your opponent's figure
with Magneto. Yeah, exactly. So I had a really good time playing in the Golden Age event earlier this year when I could use Copycat. And I just like, man, taking away an Alpha's Taxi and, taking away just some small linchpin member of their team is huge. And even with like Magneto, who has to be 75 points or less, taking away like a Dark Phoenix retail and not having to worry about killing their retail, like if that's the only retail they have, or something like that. Yeah. Can just make you, it's huge. It's crazy huge. So his whole thing is if I roll a 1 or 2, my opponent chooses one of their figures of 75 points or less. But on a 3 through 6, I get to choose the figure. And they both sit on Magneto's card. And then I remove a lost token at the end of each of my turns. So there's 3 lost tokens. So then at the end of my turn, I get Magneto back. And then they will get their figure back first, which is fair, I think. And they are both placed in the starting area. The only bad thing about Magneto is that he's really useless unless your opponent hits him for just the right amount of damage, because he's a 15 defense with ESD and like Earthbound top dial. But anyways, like that's what that Magneto did. So the team was pretty simple. Move up with Jason, Micron, and Adam. Make a Pog. If my opponent moved up a little bit, I can have the Pog running shot. I would normally make the Rookie or Chaos or Bizarro from Red Sun Lex. So like those are like the main pogs I use to move up the team. So I'd move them up. Duke Thomas has Empower, so I basically make him tiny. Micron make himself tiny. Maybe Perplex up speed with Adam on Jason if I need to get there. If not, maybe Perplex up speed with the pog that carries either one. Kind of depends on the reach. And if not, then I can do attack or defense or something else with the Perplex. So we move up with Jason. We drop all the fellas off. Then we make the Pog. The Pog carries Duke Thomas. That Micron and Adam come with him. We can place them in a pretty easy spot because after that resolves, I can have Micron charge or sidestep. But the most importantly, I need to have Duke and then the Adam in a spot to use the most of Micron's. Number one, Micron's Empower. So that way Adam gets double Empowers. And then I also need them all to be adjacent so that way Duke Thomas can give them their +1s to attack, which is cool. I mean, Micron, to be fair, is already a 12 attack for 4 damage, plus Empower, 5 damage, and then plus whatever buffs to Duke's attack, at least a 13, maybe a 14. So that's really sweet. So I get a punch stuff right away. So I get to make 3 attacks, right? If my opponent moves up, I can make 3 attacks. One, a running shot with the Rookie, so that's a double target pen blast. The other 2 attacks are Adam and Micron. Now, I wasn't able to totally successfully do this in a lot of my games. Sadly, the team did not work a lot of the time. It had a lot of speed bumps, and I think the main reason I lost so much, and it sucks when you go to a tournament and lose, but I had so much fun, I honestly didn't even mind it. But the thing is that I just realized I need to practice it more. This was the first time I had ever played that team that day. All I had done before this is just like count out squares and stuff, I hadn't played in any modern age events in a very long time. So not being well versed and practiced up on what modern age is right now. And I get that a lot of things are changing, but just not having played modern age in months, I was surprised at how close my games were, honestly. So I'm gonna blame my losses not on luck and not on anything else, but purely on skill and that I'm out of practice, that I haven't played in a long time. And with that in mind, I went 1-4. I won one game with 4 losses, which is really rough. But I had 1,300 points. So I scored a lot of points, but every game sadly came down to either like Jason or Magneto left. And Jason, when he can't make pogs, is a 1 damage. And when you only have one other figure on your enemy's like opponent's team, here's what Jason can do: mind control, move you away, sidestep away. That's what Jason can do. Or he can just keep running away if I'm up on points, which is lame, which is a lame way to play. Magneto, what can he do unless you punch him first? He can outwit you and he can shoot you as a 9 for 2 damage. Wow, amazing. Cool, Magneto. So cool. So, like, yeah, I think it is huge. So that's how the team works. Really quickly, first game, played against Mike Askew, I believe, Clicksman member. Super, like, he was one of the friendliest people. I'd never met this guy before in my whole life. Probably seen him at tournaments, but like first time we ever played a game against each other, super duper nice guy. Ran double time platform Doom and Onslaught and Commissioner. Sadly, this was one of the times where I failed that D6 roll, because otherwise I would have definitely gotten rid of his Lord Doom. But I instead got rid of Commissioner. So failing the D6 roll on this, it did suck, but being able to keep the rookie Pog out of there for a while was a little nice. Time platform Dooms mean that when I went up to Alpha, I dealt Dooms 1 damage, and then they just moved back, you know? So that was really rough. And I didn't get the running shot off, and I kind of, like, first game of the day, this was not a great first game for me, because I wasn't able to make the Pog right away, because he had Lord Doom. So it was like it threw a wrench into my plan for a team that I'd never played before, which I kind of needed a good first practice game. But still, it was a really fun game. Like, period, for every single game, it was super fun. I had way more fun than I'd had in months playing Heroclix. It just, people were being positive, people were being fun, people want to have fun. It's just great. Second game, I played against that kid, Aiden. Once again, another fun game. We just talked about characters we liked, how we got into the game and stuff, and I just really enjoy stuff like that. Second game was against Lucas Landis. We went ahead, we rolled off, we played. He was doing an Avengers team. I was like, whoa, it's current year, and we got Black Widow on the board. She's really not that bad, but I just think it's funny that someone's playing Black Widow. So it was cool. This was the first time I ever actually, I think, one turned a Black Widow, so I was pretty excited about that. That was sweet. It was like Adam, and then it was like Micron, and then it was like, oh, she's a 10 attack, mind control Voyager, and then Voyager was like, and I was like, cool. But by the time, and by the way, I made the conscious decision to get rid of 10 defense, right? So like Voyager's got an 8 attack. I just need to not crit miss. So pretty cool. It was one of those times where it's like, yeah, I'm super happy I had Magneto, because then I can get rid of his Black Leopard on his Avengers team. Because then it actually gives my dudes, Micron and Adam, gives them their stat bonuses, which they need really, like, super importantly to hit those 18s on Black Widow and Captain Marvel for his team, right? Still ended up losing. Like I said, I only won one game this day, but that game was, once again, I got like 275 points because I killed a recruit, and the only thing he had left was Black Leopard. So, like, these games were close. I just think I'm really out of practice. The next game after that was against Michael Love. Once again, super fun game. Went up. I missed, like, almost every attack with my Alpha. He went up, did some damage with... Oh, first of all, I hit the Magneto dice. Got rid of his Sky Tyrant. He had Sky Tyrant, Scarab, Commissioner, Immortal Hulk, and then 3 Wendigos. And then he had a Moloid. And so... I went up, got rid of Sky Tyrant. I think he's probably the biggest threat for 75 points or less on this team. Honestly, Scarab can only deal 1 damage. Sky Tyrant's pretty nasty. So yeah, I got rid of him. I went up. I kind of, sadly, dude, for some reason, when I don't have prob, but I have like a 14 attack, I'll roll 3s and I'll miss an 18 with Micron. I'm like, man, dice kind of really do be dice sometimes, so that's like a bummer. But like I was like, oh man, I've lost this game. And then he missed a lot of his attacks on his turn, or I made rollouts or whatever. And then I'm like, okay, someone was damaged. Dark Phoenix retell, and then like, oh, now it's definitely way more in my favor after a Dark Phoenix retell, killing killing two Wendigos, and taking some damage, killing a whatever Scarab, taking a Mystics, whatever. Like healing up Dark Phoenix 2 clicks was awesome. Killing 3 things was awesome. Dealing lots of damage. Rotating Hulk a couple of times. Micron Atom, Rookie getting their shots in. And I was like, whoa, this game is kind of maybe going in my favor. And then Sky Tyrant comes back, and Sky Tyrant does Sky Tyrant things. So I think like the big thing is like if Magneto was like we don't take them off the board, but it was like purely a copycat thing where I get to have that figure. And like, I think I probably would have won more of these games, but still, I think taking that figure off the board is huge. But lost that game. But once again, that was like, I got 200 something points and then he wiped me. But I was like, man, that was again a really close game. And let me tell you something, guys. Jason is still crazy good. Even though mind control, I can only mind control twice now because of at no cost being ruled as free, which is really like a huge bummer. So Jason doesn't pop off like he used to. Look, I never hit my mind control chains anyways. Like it just doesn't happen. So having Jason, sorry for like standing so far away from the mic. Goodness gracious, audio is going to be like Simeon's like, oh, I gotta make the audio louder. It sucks. Anyways, I never hit mind control chains with Jason anyways. So like, and half the time I'm like Micron Atom punch, make a pog punch, whatever. I'm like, I don't even have actions for Jason to do anything, So it's like I don't even need Jason at the time. Just make pogs. Make me pogs, Jason. Go, pog boy. Like that's what Jason is, pog boy. So like that's all I need. So like that was another great game. And then last game, played against Zach Pogany, local here in Sioux Falls. So in the South Dakota area, he was playing Triple Super Scroll, Double Guy Gardner, and then Green Lantern. Not a theme team. Would have been dope if Super Scrolls had Herald for whatever reason, or if Guy had Soldier for whatever reason, but sadly was not able to be a theme team, which is really a big bummer. But like that was another tough team. It came down to one Super Scroll versus one my Jason Wingard. So I also lost the D6 roll on this. I would have personally taken his Green Lantern, so he wouldn't have been able to carry up, make him just have more action tokens, mess with their action economy a little bit. But I lost it, so we just got rid of one of his Super Scrolls, which is a smart call. It ended up just being a full dial Super Scroll at 50 versus Jason. And Jason and Super Scroll just kept making shape changes back and forth. And Jason can't damage Super Scroll, not top dial anyways. He's got to get hit to mid and then, blades him. So like just the fact of like how many shape changes we both made back and forth was just hilarious. So that was a super fun game. But seriously, had a fun team, had a fun game, had a fun team. I want to play it more. I think it's a good team. I think I should just practice it a lot more. There's lots of placement and things that I know I messed up on. I think it's fun. But like other people we saw there, James, the guy that runs the event, super cool dude, super fun. Brad Broyles was there, always a fun guy. He's the one that makes the Roll20 tokens. Like, dude, so great. So many great, awesome people I was able to see that day. And it was fun. Caleb, Dustin from Clicksman, Zach, a few other people. Like Justin, like there's tons of people that were there. Sadly, I wasn't able to even play against, like, obviously you can't play against all of them. Edward Shelton went and got lunch. He also took us to this really awesome place for dinner. Like, eating out with Ed is always a fun time. It's like just absolutely every single time I go, I have tons of fun. So I was really thankful for that. And thank you so much for Dice Addiction for hosting the event. So that was my huge, long rant about my games. So me and Simeon got our game rants out of the way, but seriously, it made me happy. It was awesome. It was like the most fun I had playing Heroclix in a really long time. So I was super thankful for that.
Yeah. I will say,
but all right.
I think the Scott Porter Invitational, if it goes in person in the future, which sounds like they might try and do it in person. It sounds like they're clearly going to try and do it again, and maybe next year's will be in person. If not next year, it'll be the year after, or whatever it ends up being. But yeah, I think it'd be way more fun in person. I just truly like Roll20 hurts my brain. I don't
know why it saps the fun out of it. It really sucks.
Yeah, when I'm in person, I'm like sitting down almost the same amount of time. But when I'm on Roll20 and Discord, not only do I have to sit there, I also like I have to have my headphones on, otherwise I can't hear when they call, like, you know, when they interact with you or whatever. While when I'm at an in-person event, I can get up and mingle and like talk to people, and it's not like 12
really
people
nice.
shouting in the same chat channel over each other. It's, you know, a few people like discussing something in a corner or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I really liked the online aspect. It allowed a ton of people. I played with one dude. One of my games, I can't remember his name because I can't remember anyone's name. My brain is literally fried. But I played with one guy from Australia, and he started the game at like 1 a.m. Like when it was 10 a.m.
Dang, what a trooper, man.
It was 1 a.m. there. And not only that, but he had just moved. So he was pulling a Simeon, and he was playing, like, his computer was set up on cardboard boxes.
Yes!
And it gets even better because he had to use his phone as a mobile hotspot so that he had internet.
Oh,
so
my
he was, like,
I love it.
running Discord, like, chat on his phone.
Yes,
and then using his hotspot to, like, get onto Roll20 and stuff. But yeah, it was... just like the amount of people that were able to participate from across like the world was pretty cool. It wasn't nearly as many as I was hoping, but there were like several in each event, so that was really cool. I hope they keep that part of the online aspect because that's nice. But I'm just a sucker for in-person play. I just really not so much a sucker for in-person play, but man, do I hate Roll20. I hate it so bad.
It's sort of the thing, like, if you boil a game down to its core components, it's no longer fun to play.
Yeah.
Like, if it's just terrain on map, picture of figure, file stats, it's not fun. If you feel like a robot running a simulation or like a system reboot, like how like text to play, people on H3 Realms, y'all can't be serious. You think text to play is fun? Like, get out of here with that jazz. You got to be crazy.
They try.
Like,
though.
yeah,
they definitely
Roll20,
try.
when you boil. Oh, they totally do. Been on this text-to-play game for 10 years now. I sure hope, I sure hope Molecule Man from Avengers can make this attack in the next 5 months. Like, awesome, cool. Anyways, but like, when you boil something down to its core components like that, it's not fun. Like, it's like some of my favorite teams I saw that day, it was like double Eddie Guerrero and like Sinestro. I'm like, that is so cool. That's so awesome. Like, seeing Eddie Guerrero, and he painted one Eddie Guerrero's pants to be gold. I'm like, yes, dude, other ring gear for Eddie. That's hilarious. So like, stuff like that really adds like the cool stuff to the game. Seeing those figures on the board is huge. Like, I was kind of mad that I didn't have printed off Pogs, Creature Jason's Pogs, and I was like, I really wish I had these.
Core concept of this game, this miniatures game, is having the miniatures.
Exactly.
Playing with the miniatures,
and it feels like that there's life to it instead of this like white and brown and green map. You know, there's color and life and stuff, and I just love it. It's so much better. It feels better.
Each game on Earth X Wakanda, I had to point out, because the obscuring terrain, I almost missed it the first game because I haven't played on the physical map in a while. I almost missed it the first game, but I was like, oh, all this off-white on this one side is obscuring. So then I had to make sure I pointed it out to all of my opponents, because I was like, just so you know, like, when I'm planning on moving into this cloud over here, and it is indeed a cloud, even though it's just slightly gray-white.
Yeah, it is a little hard to see. Yeah. Sure. But all right. That was our weekends. That was our solid weekends for Clicks Play. Good weekends for Clicks Play, man, all around. Let's go ahead and jump into a couple of questions we got.
There are dozens of us. Dozens!
I guess would be community. What would we use for just generic questions that aren't Malcolm Rush? I don't know. I guess the community tag. Oh, don't ask me, dude. Anyways, we want to do the Barnstable questions first, since that's sort of in line with Silver and everything.
Yeah.
And just online tournaments in general. Okay.
Yeah, that works for me.
All right, Simeon, why don't you lead on this bad boy?
He says, I'm working on an online tournament series. I would love to hear all of the feedback you have on these following questions. So, who would make good judges or organizers? My answers are going to be a little bit skewed for this question, because I only have experience with judges and organizers that I've actually like experienced firsthand. So,
of course,
who would make good judges? I always had good experience with Jay Solomon, Chad Birdsall. I have never had him personally judge me, but just from communicating back and forth,
that's a lot.
I always go to him for. Have we had him? I guess on the side event.
Yeah,
right?
I feel judged by Chad Birdsall all the time. I think he's personally judged me quite a lot.
Ah, yes, bad Birdsall. Every time I have like a rules question, he's got like a pretty solid answer, or if he doesn't, he's like, I mean, up until recently, it was like, wait till the comprehensive rules come out. But he's one of those people that just really eats up all of the rule stuff, and he's done a really good job, especially when it comes to online play. Brian Gongai, host of the Gongai Eagle Clicks podcast, I think it's called, part of the Brothers Gongai, if you will. He was actually one of the judges for this Scott Porter Invitational, and he was pretty on the ball. So I know he's always been pretty on the ball. On their show, the Eaglecast, they do a random questions that he finds around the internet and stuff. So as like Heroclix rules questions, that is. So I know he's pretty on the ball. The progenitor of these questions, of course, to be named Anthony Barnstable. Clearly, the fastest judge in the West. I mean, you can't
Correct.
Not say that. I don't know how his speed translates to online tournaments, but I imagine it's just as quick.
I feel like he's like Cyborg. He's hooked up to the grid, and it's just instantly, yeah.
And then so that's judges. I know there's more judges. I can't think of everybody. Those are, like I said, just the ones that I've been either in person at Worlds and stuff. It's always been Anthony or Jay. It's been Anthony or Jay at Worlds. Online, it's either been Chad or, this weekend was Brian. So those are like the ones that I remember. I'm sure that there's way more judges that I just can't remember. And so I apologize to those guys. As far as organizers go, PJ hosted one of the largest online events when online play wasn't new, but when it was like the mandatory way to play. I think it was like 120 some people in that tournament or something crazy.
It was a lot, yeah.
It was just nuts. And he managed to kick it off and keep it going. So, clearly he's able to organize. The Eaglecast, so Brian, again, they are currently doing a Wonder Woman sealed. I'm part of that. They've hosted other things. We've actually copied part of the pod play, I think. I don't know if they originated it, but they definitely made it popular in their tournament series, at least to my knowledge. So clearly they know what they're doing. Jay hosted his AFSP charity one, and I think he's done a few others. Aries Edge did one. So, I mean, like, clearly there's tons of people in the community that know how to organize these things. I personally hate organizing tournaments, and I'd rather never do it. So, not me. That's my final answer.
Fair enough. All right. So for judges and organizers, I mean, I don't want to echo too much of what you said, but basically the same thing. Barnstable, Solomon, Birdsall. I'm not on a first name basis with these fellas. I stick to last names. No, it's just easier that way. But like, yeah, Jay, Chad, Anthony, like those guys, great judges. Like, I mean, and they've all been WizKid judges and everything. So I trust their judgment quite a lot. Obviously, Lucas is our local judge around here, so I dig him. He's always good. Like, I think he's always does like some pretty solid rulings, and if he ends up being wrong, it's not too big of a deal either, because we also have Isaac around here to balance him out. But I guess they wouldn't be tandem judges for an online thing, so I would just go with Jay, Chad, and Anthony here for sure. Organizers, once again. Yeah, like PJ ran one of the biggest online tournaments. So like PJ super impressed me with that. He may have started it, but Scott Crampton kept it going, by golly, and he kept it going. So If you know, you know. So yeah, dude, like PJ had great organizational tournament. I've never played. Oh no, I have played. I have played in one Gongai tournament. Not gonna lie, I was pretty much asleep at the wheel that entire tournament. I was phased out. I was like, here I am rolling internet dice. So like that was all right. So yeah, like I'd shoot them.
The
Obviously, yeah, yeah.
I completely forgot
Seems
that I
like,
even
you're gonna have to play it. I'm like, okay, I'll play. Right? Yeah. So did I kind of, to be honest with you. So yeah, like those are all like solid tournaments that were held. I mean, of course, whatever Alex and stuff with The Rock, they do things like that. Anyways, next up is how many judges do you expect based on event size, i.e., to player to judge ratio?
Yeah.
So like players to judge, how many judges do you think should be there? Because obviously when you're online and in real life too. The judge can't be everywhere at once, and with multiple games happening all at the same time, there's going to be conflicts of stuff. Not every game is going to have a rules question, but yeah, like what do you think about that, Simeon?
So
Numbers here.
I was trying to think of this as like a one judge to like how many people could a judge handle, and then I realized they're not really handling individuals; they're handling individual matches, so it's actually double what I was thinking. So. I think 1 to 20 isn't too bad. So that gives them 10 tables or 10 like Discord rooms if it's online
for sure.
That they have to watch. Yeah. And I don't think, because most games, believe it or not, go on without a hitch until once you get to like top 8, if you have that ratio, you probably have enough to have like one judge in every room, depending on the size of the event. But yeah, I think any more than that is asking a lot for a judge, especially if it's, around this time where there's new rules questions constantly. Now, like 2 years ago, when like the rules were like real solid, everyone had a pretty decent grasp. I'll pretend like most Heroclix players had a decent grasp. I don't really know. I at least pretended like I did. It could have probably been like fewer like judges, but I still think a 1 judge to 20 players, which would equal 1 judge to like 10 games, is a decent ratio. Yeah, that's all I can really think of.
I will just agree with that because sure, man. Why? I'm not necessarily opinionated, honestly, in one way or the other. I think you've done more online play than I have. 1 to 20 seems fine. What did Worlds have? Was it like 5 or 6 judges
Worlds?
For 100 people? Yeah, in-person Worlds.
No, they had more than that. I want to say.
Okay.
Again, I can't remember everyone's name, but yeah, I mean they were doing side events, so there's like 2 judges for the side events, which wasn't that many people, and then they also had, I don't know. Probably like a dozen judges.
No, it's not too big of a deal.
So yeah,
but I think 1 for every 10 tables. I think that's fine. Personally, I think it's fine because most online tournaments don't get that many judges.
Right.
Like normally there's like 1 or 2, for crazy amounts of people. So I think that's fine. Number 1, how often events of different sizes should happen to make the community and/or you happy?
This is tough because I don't think I am the majority of the community when it comes to online tournaments or just tournaments in general. I could do like 1 tournament a month, or 1 tournament, excuse me, 1 tournament like every 6 months, and be happy. Like if it was just nationals and worlds, maybe a states or a WKO, I'd be perfectly content. I am much more likely to just show up weekly for my in-person casual play than I am to request like multiple tournaments a month or anything like that. Yeah, so I feel like I'm probably in the minority as far as people who do play online tournaments in this answer. So if I was to assume based off of that, I think like 1 tournament a month is still kind of a lot, even for people that enjoy them. It'd have to be like 2 every 3 months. So it'd be like, 1.5 months you get 1 tournament. Because I don't know. I feel like people get burned out, but maybe that's just me.
Sorry, I'm just trying to count up every tournament we've had so far this year, and this is with people not being like coordinated at all, right? So like what I can remember starting in January was our tournament kicked the year off with the Prince tournament. And there was the Coffee Popper tournament. And then, and now I don't, this could be wrong. I don't honestly fully remember. Then is it Jay Solomon's sealed, Gone Guy sealed, and then Scott Porter? So has there been 5 online major,
There was also
spanning
the
like
pre-release by Highlander Games.
Oh yes, well that was sort of a 1 day thing. I wasn't sort of counting that as a big tournament. Yes, I played in that even, so I'll sort of count that as one. And of course, Rock does their weekly Winamap stuff, which is like what 1 or 2 tournaments a week, sort of depends. So
And
I
then
was
Brad
thinking
Broyles
more
has
like,
been,
with
I don't know if he's done a lot this year, but he was doing cash
right.
prize
So those are
tournaments,
once
so
again like 1 day tournaments. But yeah,
Right.
no, you're right. So
that was
he
like
did a lot of
kind of
1 day
like an
tournaments as well.
ongoing thing. But
I guess yeah. When I was thinking tournaments, I'm thinking like pod play takes multiple weeks, but basically our multiple week tournaments can be done again. Oh, and then there was the make it meta. So like big tournaments, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like so, there's 6 big tournaments out of the 5 months, right? That took multiple weeks, and then there on top of that, there are Rock weekly tournaments, Highlander tournaments, and then Brad's really sweet idea money tournaments that he does week or every weekend or so. So that's a lot of tournaments already. That's especially if you count like the sealed ones and us that are different than just 300 modern, right? You have to build a weird team. So like for Make It Meta, for our Prince tournament, for the Coffee Popper, all that stuff. That is that's a lot of specific team building. That's not just like, oh, I can copy and paste my 300 modern team. So in the 5 months this year has been on, there's already been, I would say, let's just make it a nice whatever number. Say like there's been 7 or 8 major tournaments type of deal, quote unquote major tournaments, right? As far as online play goes. So I would personally think if we do one creative online tournament, like how me and you did our tournament, whatever, if we do one creative online tournament a month, I think that's cool. And that's like the family Silver Age events or Prince or Popper or whatever format. You know what I mean? So like I think one major creative tournament like that a month that can span the whole week is fine. And then having a weekly, you know, how Rock does Winamaps or how Brad does his tournaments, having weekly little mini tournaments like that can be done in a day that are 300 modern that people practice for, that people know. Having that, you know, I would say every 2 weeks. I know there are people that are just like, yo, I want to play, you know, 3-4 times a week. I would get really burnt out on that. I don't know how some people haven't gotten burnt out on it. But personally, I'm of the mind where like if people were doing that and the buy-in was cheap, I would play every like 2 weeks, especially if we can guarantee it was like fun, you know, like how this weekend was fun, you know, with the fellowship and everything. So, but online play is once again not just, it's sadly by default it's not fun. I hate to say that. That seems lame and rude, but it's by default not fun unless it's not 300 modern, because then that sort of gets everybody a little looser, and I think you can have more fun with it. So I would say every month to 2 months, have a specialized tournament with weird rules, right? Or a sealed type tournament, you know. So like Prince, whatever. And then maybe every 2 weeks or once a week, have some kind of 300 modern thing. That's what I would say. As somebody who doesn't play, you know, this stuff every single week, you know, who doesn't want to play online every single week, that would be my opinion. The next one. Now, I can't answer this one because my weekend was different than your weekend, but what complaints did you have for this weekend that could be, goodness gracious, improved upon? What do you expect from a smooth event? Well, I can answer the second part, but Simeon, what from this weekend do you think could be improved upon?
The airing of grievances. My favorite part of Festivus. What complaints did I have? Well, what complaints didn't I have? Let's start there. No. I will never know what it's like to run a huge tournament like this. So my expectations of what should be happen are shrouded in complete ignorance. And I'll just leave it at that as far as, you know, if you take umbrage with anything I say after that. So what complaints did I have? The turnaround time in between rounds took so long that my five matches for Silver Age went from like the start time at like 10 a.m. We didn't actually get going until around like 11, and then I was finishing up at 7. So it was like 8 hours for 5 50-some minute matches. Maybe they were 55 or 60. I don't really remember. But either way, it was just a huge amount of time. And I get that, like, you know, I truly don't understand everything that goes into it. I know you have to input a ton of stuff into the win system, so that can't be easy. It's really only one person can do that. It's not you can have 2 judges entering stuff into the win. So the more players you have, the longer it's going to take. Making sure that all the points and everything are correct, so you're not shortchanging somebody and you're not screwing up the bracket, has to be a headache in itself. But even still, like, that was my biggest thing. And that's mostly because I had like a hard out time. I knew I wasn't making the top cut. I just didn't build a team that was good enough to make the top cut. I didn't even pretend.
Oh, because it was a casual day, so you didn't have to.
I wasn't
Just
even one of those
fun.
people that like pretended like their team wasn't good. It just truly wasn't good. And I knew that going into it. But that being said, that was my main thing. I had a graduation party that I really wanted to get to, and not that was the tournament organizer's fault, but just like the long turnaround times. And even for the battle royales, there was this last battle royale that I was in, the time between ending my second one and starting the third one, even though there was like a lobby full of people ready to go, I think was close to like 50 minutes. And that's because they were setting up they didn't have a dedicated judge, so the judges had to juggle both the modern 300 stuff and battle royals at the same time, which was just like, probably should have had at least one dude just there for battle royals. But that's, again, as I said, ignorance is bliss on my end. Truly, it's blissful. I will never have to experience whatever headache that is. Things that could be improved on. Just a small critique for the Silver Age in general. If you're going to put a build restriction, like family is everything kind of build restriction, you really need to have it like bullet listed, like bullet points listing. Do they need to be genetically related? Yes, no, do marriages count? Yes, no, do like cross universes count? Because there was a lot of like information going back and forth. Some people that I knew, like, their builds weren't getting
but Luke,
allowed
I don't
for
think you
certain
understand.
reasons.
I can show you a comic panel where these 2 characters were in the same room at one time, which basically makes them
pretty
family.
much related. Yeah.
That's pretty much related.
And that's more of like a thing. Like, I had a really fun team that I probably wouldn't have done as well with. I probably would have gone 0-5 with it because it was real trash. But I mean, I still would have liked to have ran it. Like, it would have made my opponents laugh. They would have just been like, this is what you brought? You brought this to me? You brought these lambs to the slaughter? But no, like, mostly just, I know that they like kind of rushed to get this done, not to get it done, but to get all the information out. They had like a deadline they really wanted to hit. So I'm fine with it because this was I don't even want to say a last minute thing, but this was a work in progress kind of thing. And so the first ever event is always going to have some bumps along the way. But moving forward, I think if you do any kind of specialized format, because like with the Prince format, we had a convention legal list that was like available, and still like there was some people that would build around it, and I was the one checking the builds, and I still missed some stuff because I didn't even go back and forth because I'm a terrible judge and I don't like doing that. But I mean, we even like had explicitly these are the things that are allowed.
You're pretty clear about that.
That build was a little bit easier because you don't need any comic knowledge to see if a figure is a super rare prime or chase. You literally just look at the card or dial, or the set number. But yeah, just that's one of my big things. Other than that, I can't speak for the modern 300 because not only was I not participating in it, but unless you are participating in it, you're closed off from those chats. So you have no idea what's going on unless you watch the streams. And so, yeah.
So sad.
That's maybe one other gripe. If you're streaming and you're choosing what matches to stream, and you see a Molecule Man on a map that is Ancient Hold, probably don't stream that game, because the first 30 minutes is going to be Barrier. And that's real boring to watch.
Instead
I can't
of
imagine watching that and being like excited at any point until literally the very end when they finally started hitting things. But yeah,
I get that when you want to stream, you might want to be like, oh, these are two named players, whatever. It'll probably be a good game. But honestly, I think you should look at like the teams more so than player names, because look, a lot of these named players, you know, ones, and by name players, I mean ones that we see a lot at these higher levels. We have a million videos of them playing. Let the little guys have some fun, you know, stream their games. I get streaming the top table, sure, whatever, makes sense. But like, stream some games that are fun to watch, especially if you're only going to allow certain people to stream at all, you know?
I actually don't get streaming the top tables, because if you're doing 5 rounds of Swiss, you can stream the top table for like the first 3, maybe even 4 rounds. But guess what? When the top cut is going to be like
once you cut
4 and
1
give
you all the same people. Yeah.
There's a good chance that both people at the top table round 4 and 5, I mean, especially round 5, but the people at the top table on round 4 and 5 are probably all making the cut. So you're probably going to be able to record them or stream them once the cut's been made. So heck, anybody that hasn't dropped, you just film the bottom table. The people that know that they aren't going to make it, that'll be a much more fun game because there's no stakes there. Those guys are just truly having fun, just smashing things together at that point. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
When it comes to
that's
like
fun to watch,
the 4th
man.
and 5th round for a like 5-round Swiss, 4th and 5th round should always be bottom table, in my opinion. What are those weirdos doing? Like, what teams did they build?
Like, that's like the fun thing, right? Is, dude, you get to see the cool teams. Like, there was a kid in Tulsa that played a team after my own heart, by the way. Captain America from Captain America and the Avengers, Falcon Cap from Captain America and the Avengers, Peggy, Ultra Chase Peggy, right? Living Legend team, dude. That's awesome. Like, and the captain, like, dude, all Living Legend. Are you kidding me? It's such a dope team. 19 defend, like, it's fun, dude. You don't see that at the top table. Why? Because it's not meta. Like, the fact, sure, it's not meta, but like, it's still a fun team, and I still want to see how it does against other teams. Because then I would like to see that against the Juggernaut kid. I want to see that matchup because I think that's really fun. You know, I want to see that matchup against the double Eddie Guerrero, which, you know, I say that about Eddie, but he probably did better than me, honestly, throughout the day. But like, dude, I want to see these matchups so bad. Like, they sound awesome. But instead, I get to see Secret 6 versus Secret 6, and I'm like, neat. Cool. Thanks for that. Glad I got to see that. But yeah, stream fun games. Because you're going to stream top. I see what you mean now, Simeon. You're going to stream top cut anyways, and you're going to see all the same teams. And yeah. I agree with all that. What was the question again? I don't remember. I agree with it. Same thing. Battle Royales, though.
For
haven't
you,
dedicated.
What would you expect from a smooth event? Because you can't really speak
from a
to
smooth
what
event?
can be approved on.
Yes. I can't, not for this weekend. But what you said about Battle Royales, I also agree with. 1 or 2 Battle Royale judges. I don't know if you're only having 1 Battle Royale fire off at a time, but you should probably only need 1 Battle Royale judge and then the rest for whatever. But have just 1 dedicated Battle Royale judge, so that way you don't hold up. Because they were only doing Battle Royales, 11-6, which means you could still only do that many Battle Royales anyways. So it's pretty low amount.
Oh, no.
So yeah, have a guaranteed Battle Royale judge, just like... Oh, did they really? Oh,
Saturday,
that's not what the original post said. But
no, they just kept going as
hey,
long
dude,
as,
do it. Heck yeah.
As long as Silver was going, and it went till like 1 a.m. So yeah, I got out at 7.
Awful. That is
the people that made the top cut had another 6 hours. Yikes! Imagine that day. Ugh. Ugh.
Nice, man. So I dig that, actually. I totally dig that. Yeah, run it as long as it's going, baby. But yes, have a dedicated judge for stuff like that, because that'll make it run smoother. Just like how you said, there was a big holdup because we didn't have a dedicated judge. So have a dedicated judge, and it'll run smooth. Simple, simple as. So that's what I would think. Have enough people in charge. Don't shorthand yourself. For a tournament to run smooth, make sure everybody knows their role in making the tournament work. I think that's to make it simply. I guess that's what I would say. Just make sure everybody knows their role to make the tournament run smoothly. Make sure they're prepared and understand what they need to do that day in order to run a nice smooth tournament. I think preparation is key. Honestly, leading up to this, and I didn't play in the Silver Age event, but it felt like no one was really ready. Like, it didn't feel like it was planned out that far in advance. Even if it was, it didn't feel like that. From an outsider looking in, seeing how like quickly put together, and like, you know, number one, the Wonder Woman tokens, only having Wonder Woman tokens, like, it's weird that you only had tokens for the newest set and not any other tokens at all, like for sets that have been out for months. Like, I get it, that could be some other problems, but like, once again, you know, you're doing this tournament.
That was a Roll20 thing.
That's what you got to do.
And well, I don't like, know exactly how it went down, but I'm like, probably should have been prepping like all that like the week before. So unless it was exactly the day of the problem occurred, it seems like it should have been something known. I literally had to
before something and
pull like all of my tokens, which I already was like prepared to do that, because a lot of like my stuff I just figured wasn't probably going to be prepared, but I had to pull all of my tokens like day of, like once that was announced, because it wasn't announced until I think like around 10.
Day before. Well, like, once again, that's like super cutting. Or no, but it was super cutting it close. It was the day before or the day of, and once again felt like it wasn't organized that well. Same thing with like the Oxid auction and all the like the live streams before that. It went off pretty much without a hitch, so like that didn't end up being a problem. It super felt like they weren't totally organized. Like it seemed really rough.
I will say, and this doesn't really have anything to do with tournaments, but just with the Invitational as a whole, not having a singular like dedicated text kind of like updated list, because there was, you know, it was like, oh, well, you didn't get that information, well, you have to watch this video that's like an hour and a half or an hour. It was just really annoying that you had to watch this endless list of like back and forth videos all over the place, when we could have just had like an updated list of like new information as it came out, kind of thing. Again, it's the first time, so I assume that going forward it's going to be a lot smoother. But yeah, that was like a small pet peeve where I was like, man, I just wish I could go somewhere and like, because I'd be like, oh, I'm going to do this and that, and someone would be like, oh, you can't. Didn't you watch that video? And I'd be like, no, of course I didn't. I have a life. I don't dedicate 12 hours of my day to new updated videos.
Yeah, it's a bit much, you know. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I've got to say for that, which will wrap up our online play questions. But really quickly, just to rattle through our answers, which is pretty much what we said, just real fast. Have, like, judge for every 10 tables. Have a dedicated judge for battle royales if that's running at the same time. Organizers in charge, we named off the list. So once again, there's plenty of good organizers in the Clicks community that are well and trusted, that I would trust to organize events. As far as frequency goes, me and Simeon said kind of a big tournament, big tournament, every month to 2 months. Try not to have them overlap. Personally, I think it'd be a great idea if we got all the content creators, all the people that make tournaments, we got them on a schedule, because a lot of us have a bad habit of overlapping, which is not good. And people like what all of us do, which is huge and awesome. So I don't want to make people like choose, like, are you a bigger this fan than this fan, or do you like this tournament or this tournament?
Yeah,
it totally does. It totally does.
Your potential people in half.
Let's make sure we get every tournament has its like due, has its good time. So yeah, let's space out the tournaments like that. I think that's a great idea. No tournaments have to fight for people that play in them. And then, have the 1 or 2 weekly events, 1-day events, because obviously not every event can be a 1-day event. scheduling reasons type of deal. You know, the only reason that Huntington's ones worked out so well is because we knew about it. They did set a date way in advance. This was the one thing they were super organized on. They set a date way in advance. They stuck to it. Easy as. Like, boom. Everybody was able to think about, okay, this is the pricing. This is how fun it will be. This is whatever you need to do to be like, okay, well, then I will take off time, or I will make time in my schedule for that tournament. So I do like that. So yeah, that's basically what we said about tournament scheduling. And then as far as organization and what we expect to run smoothly is make sure you have people there to do their jobs, to make sure they understand how to do their jobs. Don't try to do anything crazy, spectacular out of the box. You know, keep it simple, stupid. That'll make it run the most smooth. You don't have to have crazy cool tokens. Yes, those are nice. I like it when they do have those. But it's not that big of a deal jumping back to HC Realms or Clicks Nexus or whatever and then downloading tokens from like Brad or something and then just checking your dials. It's not that hard.
I really don't like the sliders. I prefer having like the solid number because there was multiple times and like I didn't have any sliders on my figures during the silver event, but in the battle royals we were using the Wonder Woman 80th figures that had like the sliding dials on Roll20, and there's multiple times where you'd like slide it too far and it would kick back to like 1, so it wouldn't show KO. Or there's one Wonder Woman that has the like alter ego thing where Diana Prince can turn into her or something like that, and the guy accidentally slipped it past the KO onto like the secret identity click, and I was like, I'm pretty sure she's dead because I hit her for a lot, so I think she's dead because she's only 50 points and I hit her for quite a lot. But yeah, I actually really don't like those, but I mean, I guess some people probably do, so who knows.
Fair enough. But yeah, dudes, that's basically our answer to those questions. Let's go ahead and answer some Discord questions now. So first up, we have superfan Chance McCall. We're doing his first because it fits with these. So with a few podcasts mentioning Spirit of the Game in reference to Silver Age, if you were the executive judge, what exploits or previous mechanics would you ban, alter, etc. to ensure Silver Age had a uniform rule set and ban lists across all venues? Simeon.
I actually kind of hate ban lists. I'd prefer, it's just right the first time. I know that's like asking a lot of WizKids to not make broken figures or something like that. And then power creep usually means more modern stuff is better than older stuff. As far as what exploits, like how would I keep exploits or previous mechanics? I actually, one of my favorite parts of Golden Age is being able to use resources occasionally. So I wouldn't want to ban like resources full out. I wouldn't want to ban ID cards. There's a huge contingent of the competitive community that wouldn't mind playing in like every so often playing with ID cards again. Especially, the people that collected them or whatever. Having that mechanic like thrown back into the mix every now and then would be decent. That being said, having a ban list for things that, like, currently, what's the Orlando event? The Clicks Cup? Is that what they're calling it?
Clicks Cup.
The Olympics or whatever they were going to go with.
Clicks Olympics,
yeah.
Because that'd have been a sue or whatever, a lawsuit waiting to happen.
You can't call things Olympics, apparently. They have like an updating ban list as they test figures for silver, which I just feel like let people go and it's not silver, I guess. I don't know what their events actually.
Well, they have a casual night and then they have a normal silver for 400
okay.
point silver. I don't think 400 point silver is going to follow a normal ban list. I don't even think Unimind or anything else are going to be banned on it either.
Yeah, I'm like, don't ban Unimind. Don't ban Goblin King. Allow those pieces to be played. If they become a problem where you're seeing like nothing can possibly get past them and it becomes an issue, but you're entering a competitive atmosphere, you should have access to all previous things, especially if they were never banned for 300 Modern, which almost everything wasn't. I guess Felix Faust being the one exception, and I've had a few people tell me that he really wasn't that bad, which I don't know. I truly never had to play against it more than once or twice, and never in like a competitive event. But yeah, I guess I would say a rotating ban list, which is what I said. I've said it like once or twice before. As I just said, I don't like banning things. I think let's call it a rotating bench list to get on WizKids.
Ooh.
But yeah, you see something win, and like let's say they do the Clicks Cup every 6 months, so it's a biannual event. First time around, 0 ban list. Top 8 teams, like each, like you take the top 8 teams, and none of those elements are allowed for the next one. And then the 6 months after that, everything's allowed again. And then, top 8 teams, everything's banned. And then, 6 months later, you have to work with that ban list. And then it just keeps going. So maybe it evolves, and things that got banned the first time around aren't banned the second time around, or et cetera kind of thing. But yeah, just keeping, I think, top 8, that's usually quite a variety. You'll probably see some of the similar things, but that's quite enough of a variety where you're going to have a completely different top 8. I mean, especially if you're not allowing any of it, but you're going to have a completely different style of play the next go around. And then you can go back to the old busted stuff that, worked the first time if you want to, or maybe you found a team that you really liked the second time around, so you stick with that. But as far as when it comes to competitive play, and this is like from someone who's not competitive at all, I just really think doing any kind of ban list is just completely against Golden Age in general. And not to say Silver Age is anything close to Golden Age, but as they're approaching that kind of territory, the whole like golden part of Golden Age, the whole awesome ability of Golden Age is to pull all these old, broken, busted kind of like shenanigans. Now, clearly don't allow certain things. What those things would be, in my opinion, Felix Faust is probably the only one that I would keep on there. But like even Zombie Super Scroll, not even close to being bad compared to stuff.
Dude, not even anymore. Yeah.
So like, power creep's a thing. Modern's always gonna like overstep the old stuff. But if we keep banning things preemptively, like, I don't know, the Teen Titans map, before anyone even had it in hand, it was banned. If we keep preemptively banning things based on people's opinions and assumptions, I just feel like it's bad for the community as a whole. Because, not to get too inner circle-y, stepping out of my Billion Clicks Bruce persona, but it's just real lame. Let people lose to something. Like, I'd rather lose to something and be like, man, that's real busted, than to have someone tell me like, oh, you don't want to play against this, believe me, let me just hide that from you. Let me take the punch to the face before I decide, all right? I don't need you protecting me, whoever you are, Inner Circle. Yeah. That's my rambly rant. It's a long way of saying don't ban anything, but kind of ban some things.
Yeah. Wow. So here's my much simpler rant. I think if we truly want to focus on a spirit of the game, casual aspect, as far as Silver Age goes, don't allow characters with retaliation in the name or special power or whatever to be only played at their lower dial. They can play those figures, but make them play them at a point value higher than their normal point value. Pretty simple. Second up, ban all ID cards. Also, again, pretty simple. And then I'm taking this from the Clicks Cup as well, but maybe only allow one chase and then one super rare on your main force. And I would even say main force and sideline. So you can have one chase on your main force, one chase on your sideline, or one super rare on your main force and one super rare on your sideline. If you want to have whatever, a super rare flash and a super rare Wonder Woman on the sideline for shifting focus, etc. I think that's kind of cool. I think that's fun. I think that would keep spirit of the game about as well on alive as you can. Personally, I'm against making it have to be a theme team or have to be a named theme team, because that's not how I would build my teams. But that's me on a personal basis. I would normally build my teams on how characters look together, stars and stripes, etc., stuff like that. That's how I did it. That's how Dad does it. That's how America does it. Darn it. The rest of the quote from Iron Man. So yeah, like,
I think so. If I was going to take the casual aspect of how to reign in silver, have a like percentage of the point cap have to be not modern, because man, I get like silver's newish enough that there's really just not a ton of stuff to draw from. But if you said like 50% of your build has to be rotated, that would shift up a lot.
I would like that too. I would like that too.
Yeah,
50% of your build, 150 points of your build can't be modern.
Casual,
that's really good.
If you comboed that with the no retaliation thing, so people couldn't just be like, all right, 15 Carnages. Oh, wait, no, 12 Carnages and a Mangog.
Yep.
As long as, like, you know, you had, like, some other thing for, and this is specifically for casual. I think silver is good for casual. In its current form, I think it's just way too accessible from like the competitive aspect. So I don't think we've seen a good silver casual yet, but it's definitely possible if you implement some sort of like point cap, because the best part of playing silver is you get to play rotated figures, right? So
yeah,
why would
exactly.
you not do that? Why would you play?
When I feel that pressure to win, I end up
silver?
just playing modern stuff.
Yeah, why? Why would you? I mean, I get for like the Scott Porter Invitational because there was other like barriers for the team build, so it's way too easy to play like Fantastic Four or X-Men and draw from the newer stuff, or even like Wonder Woman, or you know, I mean anything. It's way easier to grab the newer stuff because there was that extra like barrier of the build. But in just like general for Silver Age, why would you not build with Silver Age figures? Why would you build a modern team in a Silver Age event? It's so strange to me.
It is quite odd. So no, I agree with that. Next up, we had a question from iZone Bill, also on our Discord, for our Patreon exclusive Discord. He said, if you had a custom switch clicks of yourself, what would be the base that you would put your switch clicks on? And he said his would be the Cosmic Clash Stars at Doom, which is like, whoo, powerful beast right there, baby. Simeon, first of all, what would your switch clicks look like? What would you have them make? Then tell me what would be the first couple figures that come to mind. Whatever, putting it on.
It would either be me in like my work harness, and then I could get like some sort of like leap climb kind of dial. Well, not dial, but like I could be put on a dial that already has that. Or it would be, of course, Billion Clicks Bruce, because I mean, that's the only true answer.
Got to.
It's got to be the Billion Clicks Bruce. Man, I don't know. As far as like what would Billion Clicks Bruce look like? Because I mean, he can take a chair shot. He can put down ranch hand with a single DDT.
Okay, let's calm down. Technically, we played the whole day, so calm down there.
Let's a single DDT, ladies and gentlemen. I think something like I want to say he's more of like a mastermind kind of guy and less of a like solid fighter kind of thing. So with that in mind, I'm thinking the Baron Zemo from the Avengers vs. Masters of Evil set, the Baron Zemo or Red Skull that have the Red Skull with poison or outwit, and then the Baron Zemo that's either leadership or his leadership perplex with blades. Those would be solid options, I think.
Okay, nice. Mine is also along those same lines. I would have to do the Rowdy Ranch hand for sure. So that's like the belts, the jorts, KT tape if necessary that week type of deal. The hat, obviously, my like staple and everything. Like, I think it's a good look. I think it's a solid choice. I would. I think that'd be really fun. Holding a chair would be really cool, or like the boot would be kind of funny, or just like my hammer. That'd be sweet too. Yeah. So like I would be like any of those would be really really sweet. And then I would put this guy. I would buy this figure and then I'd put it on the style, but I would give it to the deep cuts unpainted Wolverine. I think would be really funny. These charge flurries would be like double chair shot. Whatever. I think that'd be really fun. His biggest reducer is toughness, which I think is fine. And then some like blades and stuff doesn't really totally fit, but I think that's really funny. The Battle Fury could be like
Improved
whenever I like did a raid.
Very impressive.
Yeah, that's huge. That's really big. But then like as fun, obviously I'd put him on like every Switchclicks Captain America, and then I would like swap him out for whatever zombie I feel like that week. For like just being on the Switchclicks on the zombie team base would be really funny. Yeah. So yeah, man, that's what I would do.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty fun question. And I mean, since it's already been a prize, I don't want to speak out of turn, but I imagine this could be a prize going forward every year. Just like design a figure or design a bystander or whatever. Pick a legacy card. They've got all these new implements and options for prizing that really they feel super special. Designing a character always felt like the greatest prize you could have in Heroclix. Having your name and your own design on the board, that always seemed like a really cool thing. Having your own sculpt on a dial wouldn't be quite as cool because you don't get to pick the dial, but it's still you in Heroclix form, so that's just as interesting. I think the most lucrative prize of all is picking a legacy card, because once they've locked it in, you can just if you had such a devious mind, and you locked in whichever legacy card you were creating, you could buy all the secondhand, mark it up before anyone else knew, and then you would have the only supply. So if I truly was like, yes, Nick Fury, super rare from Agents of Fury, or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I just go and buy those all up at $6, and then once the legacy card comes out and it's super busted, then suddenly I'm selling them all for like, I don't know, $30. Wow, what a
money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Luckily, you don't have to worry about me doing that, because I'm not good enough at Heroclix to ever be in that position. So
true. Here's the thing, like, I imagine
great ideas and no way to implement them.
Right, like the legacy card is a huge one. It's a super huge one. I really really like these, because the last few winners haven't been allowed, or for whatever reason haven't had their sculpt or themselves on the sculpt of their championship figure. It's just been the name drop on the back of the card. So if they aren't doing that anymore, I think the custom Switchclicks, even though it's going to be unpainted, is cool. Cool idea. Also, make a Fast Forces of everybody that's ever been a Switchclicks and make it unpainted. I think that'd be hilarious.
So you can own.
We could get like they did like players. You can also own them. Yeah, it'd be kind of funny, right? Like I think that'd be cool. Especially if you're paying something like, I don't know, $4,000. I could think that'd be enough to mass produce a version of that type of deal. Or like if they did like Heroclix teams, gets all three of you guys, and then each of you get a copy or something like that. That'd be cool. I think for sure for teams, that'd be the coolest Switchclicks thing too, because then you can put all of you guys on a team base. It's really sweet. So, no, I like it a lot. And those are all the questions we got this week, ladies and gentlemen. Before we go, though, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a quick Jedi Legend Heroclix tip of the week.
You don't want to sell me death sticks.
I don't want to sell you death sticks.
You want to go home and rethink your life.
I want to go home and rethink my life.
He says, new knockback is bittersweet. It's more bitter than sweet, to be honest with you, Jedi. It's limited to 3 squares, up to 3 squares. It no longer causes knockback damage. Charge and combat reflexes are no longer immune to knockback. So that is actually really important to remember, is that the charge and combat reflexes no longer get rid of knockback. So you can at least knock them back now, but once again, no damage anymore. And actually, I had a few games where I rolled doubles against walls that actually would have changed if knockback damage were still a thing. It's not a thing, so I don't know why I'm thinking about it. But yeah, it does not exist anymore. Something to keep in mind. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of our show. I want to remind you guys, we make all sorts of really fun, crazy, cool, creative content over on our YouTube channel. So even if you don't want to watch any videos, just go over and subscribe if you have a YouTube account. It really helps us out. We really enjoy making content for the YouTube channel. We think it's really fun. It's like a little mini hobby at this point. And a lot of you guys like the videos. So if you guys want to, continue that, like them. We have actually quite the backlog of videos to watch. And I know a lot of people that just find the channel or just start doing it don't ever, do I ever go through a backlog of some other YouTube channel? Honestly, no. But we have pretty much every single Heroclix set ever, like main booster set. We've played it, and then we have several pretty darn funny skit videos, as well as our live videos, like our Clix Busters, our Heroclix Hot Ones, and our Heroclix show, Rowdy Ranch Hand, Billion Clicks Bruce Extreme Rules video is hilarious. So check out like all of those on our YouTube channel, guys, as well as all our funny comedy skits. If you haven't yet, really helps grow the show. Leave a review on whatever you listen to us on, iTunes, Podbean, Spotify, whatever. Really helps other people see the show when they search for Heroclix. So if you want to grow the community and everything, that's big. If you want to follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, like us and stuff like that on Facebook, that also really helps the show to a degree. So we super appreciate that. Got to pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers. To quote The Wolf of Wall Street there. I think it's The Wolf of Wall Street. I've never seen either movie that it might be from, but we'll just go with it.
It's Matthew McConaughey, whatever it is.
Probably. Yeah. And what's his face? Caprio.
Yeah. Wolf of Wall Street.
Caprio's in The Wolf of Wall Street, but McConaughey's. Anyways, I know I don't know about movies, guys. I'm sorry. But yeah, that's all I've got to say. So thank you guys so much. And of course, if you want to support the show financially, like I said at the top of the show, check out our Patreon. We super duper appreciate that. And I like to think we give you guys a really good value for Patreon at every value, at every tier. So definitely check that out. But yeah, that is all I've got to say.
Yeah. And some point we'll be uploading all the pre-show banter and bloopers in some form or fashion. I'll get.
And there's a lot.
Actually editing.
There's a lot.
And I have to edit them down just because they're like super long and there's a lot of silences when like we're like getting up to grab water and stuff before the show and things like that. But those will be coming soon. So patrons have already gotten a few tastes throughout the random episodes, but there's way too many in my backlog and I want to start deleting them, so I'll have to upload them at some point. But with that, Dial H for Heroclix is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock every day. So check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Happy trails.
So if you're looking for emotional satisfaction, my advice to you is seek professional...
Heroclix?
No.
Are you serious? Again? How many people even play this game? Like 100?
Instant deadpan humor.
Over 6 people think I am funny.
It's a hard day's work. Not that you know anything about that. Which...
Absolute fools, it's not.
Witcher nonsense. I'm gonna make Heroclix like that forever. Are you kidding me?
Hey Google, attack someone.
Let's attack Simeon because he's a jerk.
Wow.